to be daring, baby, dance the night away. I let my hair down if I won. Don't you just get tired chasing fame and being pretty all the time? Doesn't sound like fun. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better, so much better. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I want to be silly, baby, dance the night away. I'll kick my shoes off if I want. Let yourself be free and maybe you will find that there is more to life than being pretty. Honey, let's just face it. You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better, so much better. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. You can. Baby, let your head down, be a little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes off. You don't have to hide it. Baby, let your head down, be a little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes off, don't hide it. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder.
Lights flash in the dark. I know you're coming back, aiming at my heart. And these things never come from me easily, no. But now I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready, ready. Emotions repeating, though it's been so long. I know what you're thinking, I know. I wanna spend all our time now, for better or worse. I know the past is gone, and now you're all I want. 'Cause I would give it all up, give it all up, give it all up for you. I would give it all up, give it all up, give it all up. I would give it all up, give it all up, give it all up for you. I would give it all up, give it all up, give it all up. I would. You know that I would. Lights flash in the dark. Just close your eyes and we'll be shooting stars. And you know I can't wait for forever no more. Now tell me, are you ready? Are you ready? Ready? Emotions repeating, though it's been so long. I know what you're thinking, I know. I wanna spend all our time now, for better or worse. I know the past is gone, and now you're all I want. 'Cause I would give it all up, give it all up, give it all up for you. I would give it all up, give it all up, give it all up. I would.
That's right, I'd give it all up for you. I'm giving it up. Giving it up for you. Oh boy, welcome everybody. Welcome. It is Friday. What's up, everybody? It is another episode of Beyond the Doll. Let us switch to the main camera. Hello, what's up, everybody? What's going on? It is your host, Shizu-san, and my beautiful assistant with me today is the very lovely Artemis. And there is a reason why Artemis is here today, because she is the guardian of all my dolls. She protects us all. She is the rough warrior. She is my tank out of all my dolls. If ever I need protection, Artemis is there to keep the other lady safe. But she is here today because the topic of the day is a very touchy subject that just recently arose within the community. You guys probably already know what has happened, what went on, or at least as much information as we could possibly know, because there isn't a whole lot. And we'll go over it, not in great detail, but more so like, is this going to be a thing, is really going to be the main focus of today's episode. Like I said, today's episode is going to be that. There's no really any announcements per se. I haven't heard back from Anime New Jersey ++. If I don't get any panels there, I'm probably going to go for just one day. More than likely it'll be the Saturday, just to check it out, because it's a newer con and I just want to kind of see, what it's like over there. And it's not very far, of a drive for me. So I'll try it out. But that's going to be on the weekend of the 22nd, I believe. It's like the weekend right before Thanksgiving. So if you're in the tri-state area, that being New Jersey, New York, or Pennsylvania, it might be within a reasonable drive for you to make it out there. Just hang out, whatever. If you are going to be attending, send me a direct message on Instagram or something. Maybe we can meet up. I don't know if I'm really going to post anything or make any announcement that there's going to be like a meetup. It's more so I'm like scoping out the joint. If I host a panel, I'll let you guys know, so that this way you guys, if you were interested, you can attend. But if not, that's cool. Like I said, I'm just checking it out, just trying to see what this new con is all about. I've heard some pretty decent reviews from its first year last year, so here's to hoping that it sticks around and becomes probably a good con for New Jersey. I mean, there's several cons in New Jersey. It's just a lot of them are really small. They're not like big time, like Anime NYC or Anime Boston or Otakon or what's the other one? NekoCon or anything like that, right? Or KatsuCon. Like those are like really big name cons. So this one's new, just starting out, but hopefully if people like it and it continues to go, it'll grow just like Anime Next did at some point, and now nobody knows what's happening with that con. But yeah, that's not this weekend, but the weekend after next. I'll let you guys know in the Doll Symposium next Friday, more details if I find out any more details. So, before we get into the nitty-gritty of today's topic, everybody that's here, thank you for coming to the live stream. Couple shout-outs, I guess. Kitten Cat Shop, welcome. Today's live stream. Hope you're having a good evening. I am having a pretty decent week so far. To be fair, the last couple weeks have been like a little rough. Not in a bad way. It's just a lot of work. I've just been tired. Just a lot of things I got to take care of. Both work and personal life, and it's none of it is really bad. So it's not like that kind of thing, but it's just really exhausting and just a lot of stuff I had to do. So I've been kind of in and out. I've been talking to a couple of people about some projects that are coming up, and I haven't really responded to any of them lately, and they're probably thinking I blew them off. I didn't. I'm sorry. I've just been super, super busy, and I will get to all of your emails and your direct messages as soon as I can. I just been swamped, man. There's just been so much going on lately. Just not just doll stuff, but like, you know, personal life. It's just a lot, and just balancing it has been a pain in the butt. But that being said, I believe that things will start to slow down a little bit more because we're getting towards the holiday season. And even though that's usually a time when things ramp up, at least for me, work-wise, and for the kids, it slows down because there's no more activities as it gets closer to the holidays. So, my kids don't have marching band anymore. My son still has his like after school activities, but like work tends to die down a little bit. So hopefully things will get a little bit better and I can catch up to all these things I've been kind of like lagging behind in. Also, I have two unboxing videos that are coming soon. One's already 90% done. I just need to finish the thumbnail and finish the last touches of, making sure that the audio is clear and that the visuals are clear, if I need to adjust any color adjustments and things like that. But it's mostly like, I want to say 85%, 90% done. So that first unboxing video should come this weekend. Either I'll launch it tomorrow night or I'll launch it Sunday night. It's just a normal pre-recorded video, so it's not like I'm going live to show it or anything. So just be on the lookout. If you're subscribed to the channel, you'll get the notifications, but it should be either tomorrow or Sunday that the first unboxing video goes. And then I'm hoping I can get the second one done and ready to go by Thanksgiving weekend, which for those of you that are watching international, that's 2 weeks from today. So yeah. I will try to get that done as soon as I can. And those are the only unboxing videos I have right now. I bought a bunch of doll clothes and accessories. I might do a doll haul. Like, that's a little hard to say, but like an unboxing video of like stuff I bought, basically. I might do that. I might not. It really depends if I have the energy to do it. Any other announcements before we get started? I think that's everything. If I remember as we go on, I'll just let you guys know. But I think that's everything I wanted to get out of the way before we start today's episode. We got a couple more people coming in. Cymex, welcome. Cymex, you made it. Woohoo! Welcome to today's episode. I hope you enjoy it. It's going to be a good episode, I think. It's more of a cautionary tale than anything. Marie Velez, welcome to the stream. What's going on? I'm so glad that you are live tonight. I am glad I'm live tonight too. To be honest, I'm glad when I go live every night because it's always fun. I always have fun with you guys. It's always a treat to have conversations with you because, all honesty, you guys are the only ones I talk to about this doll stuff. Like all my IRL friends that are in my like friends group, like my little circle of friends, like they're not really into dolls. And most of my IRL friends that are into dolls, we live so far apart from each other that we don't really like hang out or see each other as much as we would like. We do communicate, online just as much as everybody else does, but you know what I mean? Like my daily day-to-day life, it's like none of my coworkers, none of my friends that live in the neighborhood, like nobody cares about this doll hobby but me. So it's always great going live every Friday and being able to talk to you guys and, seeing what you guys want to say or about the topics or, what's going on. Okay. That being said, let's get into the nitty gritty of today's episode. Just quick drink of water. Okay. So today's episode's called A New Fear, Thieves. And if the title is not already like a little like, what's going on here? Like, what happened here? If you haven't noticed, because this has only happened, as far as I can tell, I think it was in the last 24 hours, maybe, or the last 20 hours. Like, it's fairly recent when this happened. Hold on. I'm trying to pull it up on my phone to see the exact time of when it was. I think it was... Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm pulling it up real quick. It was... Okay, so about just less than 24 hours. Okay? So this is fairly recent news. If you haven't seen it, it's been plastered all over the place. So it's making its rounds through Instagram and all the Facebook doll groups. A lot of people have been voicing their opinions and sharing it so that everybody else can be warned. But this is something that I think is a new fear for our community. It's not a new fear for hobbyists in general, or just, I guess you could say, life in general. But thievery. So, let me see. Hold on. Boom. There we go. Should we be afraid of thieves? As doll collectors, you guys already know that in this hobby, it's quite pricey. Like, the bar to get in, the entrance to get in is a lot higher than some hobbies. So, like, if you're, like, for myself, I collect Transformers, I collect G.I. Joes, I collect anime figures and things like that. Even just amongst that small sphere of things that I collect, a lot of the really expensive stuff, like the Gundam model kits and things, they can range from like $50, $80 US to as much as $200 or $300 because they are the perfect grade, kind of things. Or like statues or figures, they can run like $200 maybe USD, $300 USD. But these dolls, they can be as much as 300 or as much as 2,000 or 3,000, depending on which doll you're looking for, how old, how rare, how limited. Like, I know that that's a little bit redundant, but like, depending on like the demand, the popularity, like the everything, right? It can go really high. I think one of the most extreme examples that I've used in the past is Saber Fate Stay Night Lily Edition, which goes for, if you're lucky to find a brand new one that's in really good near mint condition, around $3,000, maybe $3,500. There's a lot of dolls out there that command a pretty high price. Doesn't necessarily mean that anyone's really gonna pay for it at that price, but it's been spotted at those prices, and whether or not it actually sold at that price is a whole nother thing. Whether or not those people put those prices out there just to see if anyone's willing to buy it, knowing that it's pretty expensive. But all in all, our hobby has a pretty high bar of entry. Obviously, there are other hobbies that are more expensive. Like, let's say you're a car enthusiast, so to speak. Cars are generally much more expensive than the doll hobby. But this is something that I feel we don't really encounter here in the doll community. And when I say doll community, I really mean more so the community that I surround myself with, which currently is like anime dolls or Dolphy Dreams or Smart Dolls or A-Zone dolls. A little splash of resin, because a lot of my friends are kind of getting me into the resin thing. So I'm learning, I'm still waiting for that bell so I can get my first resin. But within that sphere, okay, I've me personally, I've never met anyone in real life or let's say online that has had a doll stolen from them. I personally haven't, and I guess I'm lucky, and those individuals that I know that I'm friends with are also lucky. But this story comes to us because it has happened to somebody, and it's very jarring for the community because we don't really see it. I don't know if it's so much we don't talk about it as a community, but we don't really see this kind of thing. Or at least I haven't. I mean, you guys can always correct me, put it down in the live stream chat, put it in the comment section down below if you're watching this later on the VODs. But I don't really hear much about people talking about theft. You always talk about in our hobby, we hear about people getting screwed over, like when they bought something online and they bought a fake, or they bought something online and the person never delivered and they lost their money. Especially through, when you do PayPal via friends, that's always like a big red flag warning. You're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that because there's no guarantees. I'm going to put Artemis back in the picture. There's no guarantees that I'm really going to get my product. And, a lot of people have been scammed that way. There are stories about people getting scammed by scalpers and things, but you don't hear too much about thievery, like people actually stealing a doll. So let's move on to the next slide. So this happened less than 24 hours ago, and this was posted on Instagram by one of the users there. I don't remember the name offhand, but their name is plastered on the next slide, so we'll get to that when I switch over. But they posted on Instagram that they're missing their dolls, In October of 2024, I came home to find that my home had been burglarized and 14 dolls were stolen. This is weird. This is a really weird situation. And what I mean by that is I'm not saying that it's weird for the individual that had the doll stolen. I mean, yes and no at the same time. I don't mean weird in a putting down sense. Like my heart goes out to this person. Like I understand like how traumatizing this could be, but it's just weird because in our community, especially our hobby, nobody really knows about this hobby. Like I talk about it all the time on my channel, how this hobby is growing more and more. That every year there's more people that join this hobby and it's growing and more people are starting to recognize it. But our hobby has not reached that plateau to where any Joe Schmo off the street, especially someone who doesn't care about dolls, like a burglar or something, would actually know what they're looking for and actually steal it. You know what I'm saying? Like it hasn't reached that high of a popularity yet. You know, like if a burglar goes into your house and breaks in and then they're going to steal some stuff, they see a PS5 in your entertainment center, they're going to take that because they know what a PS5 is, right? Like, they know the value. They know how much it's worth. They're going to take that PS5, right? But you break into someone's house, you're looking for expensive things. You're looking things that you want to sell, right? That you know has value. Jewelry, expensive electronics, maybe memorabilia like autographed baseball cards, things like that. People look for like these high-end items. As a burglar, let's say I know nothing about the doll hobby. As a burglar, I break into a house, I see a wall full of these dolls. Yeah, they look like they're kind of cool. They look like they could be maybe expensive, but who am I going to offload this to? Like if I'm a regular burglar, who's my intermediary that I sell these stolen goods to and they will resell it? Like there's no black market for these dolls, at least not that I know of. I don't think there's a black market for these dolls yet. Like how, how does this happen? Most people, they don't know. They don't know this hobby. Like the general populace do not know this hobby. So we're going to move on to the next slide. Okay. So here's the name. I have it here so you guys know. It is Aline Kodesu on Instagram. Okay, so she posted this. She lives out in New Mexico. So if you're in that area, please keep a lookout. If you see any like weird sales going on, especially for any of these dolls in these pictures, you see any weird sales going on, like report it as soon as possible. Report it. And I know some people, even though they see it, they may not report it. And I understand why, because if you report it, then your name gets put on a list of witnesses and you have somewhat of a responsibility to, tell the truth. And then maybe they might ask you to be a witness. They might ask you to make a not public statement, but write down a written statement, sign your name. You may be called to testify. Who knows how far this rabbit hole will go? And because of that uncertainty or that land of unknown, there's a lot of people that may not say anything, even though they saw something, and it's scary because as collectors, we know what these dolls are worth. We know we don't want them to be taken. And one of the grand things about this hobby, or the greatest things about this hobby, is because it is relatively unknown. The thought of thievery or stealing and reselling from thievery is almost next to near unheard of because, like I said, who are you going to offload it to? Like, have you guys ever watched that TV show like Pawn Stars or something like that? Like, if you were to steal this and take it to one of those shops and try to sell it to you, they're going to look at you and be like, that's interesting, and they may not take it. But, I know how Pawn Stars work. They do their research. Like, you bring in this doll, they're not going to know what it is. They're not going to know the value of it. They might just say right off the cuff, they'll be like, I'll give you $50 for it or something like that. It's got good quality craftsmanship. It looks like there's a lot of care and attention. It could be expensive. I'll give you $50 for it. Like, they lowball you, right? But then the guy, they always show those scenes where the guy goes behind the counter and he's like, I might know a guy that knows a little something. And then they call somebody up, and then a pseudo expert comes into the store and they're like, oh yeah, I know about this hobby. Yeah, these things are worth $1,000 or something like that. And then the customer is always like, oh snap, $1,000. And then like the seller's like, the buyer's like, oh snap, $1,000. And he's like, yeah, I'll still give you 50 for it. And then the seller is like, they're like, nah, now that I know it's $1,000, I want $1,000 for it. You guys know how the show goes, right? So there's nobody knows about this hobby. Like, Pawn Stars don't know about this hobby yet. Like, it's not that big where some random thief looking to make some quick cash is going to break into your home and then steal these dolls and I don't know, nothing else. Like, the first thing I'm going to go for is jewelry, electronics, money, if I see any money, expensive paintings or something. Like, those are things that you fence, you know what I mean? Like, the last thing on my mind is a wall of dolls, because I've never seen it, I've never heard of it, I don't know the value. I'm not going to take those things. Maybe if I'm like a really devilish individual, like I'm a mean guy, right? I might walk past those dolls and be like, ugh, creepy, and take a bat and start smashing them just for fun. But I wouldn't take them thinking I could sell them. You know what I mean? Like, nobody knows the values of these things yet. So the only people that know the values of these things is people in the hobby, or people that want to be in the hobby that hasn't bought their first doll yet. You know what I mean? So let me read out to you guys this list just in case you guys can't read it, because I know my picture is a little bit small. So the dolls that are missing: Anfi dolls, Chocola, and Vanilla. They are missing a custom Ganyu from Shine's Workshop, which is Ganyu's from whatever that gacha game is. I forgot the name of it already. Hatsune Miku, an NT Miku, a Mosh Kirilight from Fate Grand Order, a Freeren, a Sath Scotty, Kizuna AI, a Moe, a Ram, a Rem. I think Amelia's in this picture. They didn't put the name Amelia in there. A Miku custom, and a Sakura Miku. Like, that's a lot of dolls, man. That's a lot of dolls. Like 14 dolls that got stolen. Dude, that's a lot, and that's a good chunk. That's a good chunk of money. Like, even if you were to say retail value for all of these dolls, 14 times retail value of they're all like anime collaborated dolls, retail value of roughly around $600. You're looking at like $6,000-$7,000 like worth of merchandise that they took. That's a lot. That's a lot. Like, maybe in the grand scheme of things, it's not as much as a diamond watch, or like a Tiffany's necklace or something like that. You know what I mean? But it's still a lot of money. And if I was a thief, I'd go for the Tiffany watch. I'd go for the Prada bags. I would go for that before I would go and pick up a doll, because I don't know what this doll's worth. Like, I'd go for the good merchandise, so to speak. That's why this post of thievery is so jarring. It's so jarring because no one knows this value, man. Like, the only people that know are the people in this community. Those are really the people that know. And it's a real shame. And it's scary for us doll owners. And it's like I said before, it's like, should we be afraid of thieves? Is this something we really need to start looking out for? Like this could be, and I laugh. You hear me laughing and giggling. This is not a laughing matter. It's just so jarring that, like, I don't know how else to react to this. Like, have we reached that pinnacle of doll collecting? Like, has our hobby reached that pinnacle where people are like, yeah, this is what I would steal? Like, even in a house like mine, like, I have a lot of collectibles, for anime goods to Transformers to comic books. Like, I got a bunch of stuff in my house. But would a thief go for those things more than the dolls? Because they might know. They might not. They might know. They might not know. I just think it's weird that these dolls were taken in the first place. Out of everything that you could steal from a person's home, these dolls were taken. Like, that's weird, right? Like, that's really weird. like I could go up to a random person in the street and I'll be like, I'll give them like a scenario and be like, okay, you break into someone's house. What are the first couple things that you want to steal that you're going to sell? You know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you they're not going to say these dolls. They're not going to say BJDs. Like, they're not going to say that. So I think I find it very, very suspicious that these dolls, 14 of these dolls are missing. But there is some good news. There is a ray of hope somewhat in this news. And that is the fact that, oh, well, I forgot I put this picture here. So these are all the dolls that were taken. Basically, everything you see here, this is what was taken. But moving to this one, she's actually recovered it. So apparently she lodged the complaint, obviously, because her house was broken into. So it's not just like she launched a complaint just for the dolls. I mean, someone broke into her house. You got to call the police, right? Make a report for it. So you can contact the insurance company and show them the police report that, hey, this was stolen. This is what the police said, blah, 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 blah. So she made a report to the police. Somehow, the police were able to recover these two items. So that's one doll, this one Natsume doll, and a Sakura Miku head. And that's all that they were able to recover. Now, according to the story, there is no proof that this is the actual story and this is what happened. I should have said that from the outset. Like, this is a post made by an individual on the internet, on a social media account. There is no proof this is real or really happened. Us in the doll hobby, we believe it happens because why would somebody lie about that? But just in case, somebody's trying to spoof us or scam us or make a controversy out of nothing when this didn't really happen, we have to just at least acknowledge the fact that this is the internet. We don't really have any proof other than this person's word that this happened, right? So that being said, according to this individual, they contacted the police and the police were able to find these two items, the Natsume and the Sakura Miku head. Now, the way that the story goes is that these two items were found in possession of an individual that is apparently part of the doll community. How they found that out, I don't know. Like, I don't believe there was an answer as to how they found out that these two recovered items were from an individual that's also part of the doll community. That's part of, I think they even specified as much to say that they're in one of the Facebook groups, I believe. So I guess one thing is that they were able to recover these two dolls. Now for the other 14 dolls and the body, so I would say 13 and a half, as far as I know, the post has not been updated yet, so they're still missing. They're still out there somewhere. Now, I think I put it here, did I? Oh no, I didn't put it here. There was also another post. There was another post stating that the original poster, the person that posted that their dolls were stolen, said something that these two dolls that were recovered, that they inspected the dolls and it looked like someone was already in the process of changing the dolls so that it doesn't look recognizable to the owner. Now, I don't know what that means. I have no empirical proof of any of this. I'm just as much in the dark as you guys. All I can see is whatever's posted on the internet and whatever people reply. So obviously all the statements that I'm making is all speculation. Like, it's just what we've seen, we've heard. We don't know any truth to it. But according to them, they said that the returned dolls seem to be in a condition that were somewhat changed that would prevent the original owner from recognizing them as their dolls. I don't know if there's truth to this. I really don't. But this is just what I read. Okay, it's in the post somewhere. I forgot if I read it in the Facebook one or the Instagram one. But there's so many comments of everybody, obviously giving their heartfelt, thoughts and, concerns, and hugs and, internet hugs and all that kind of stuff. So, there's a lot to read through on this post. But that's apparently what they said. Now, before I move on, I know a lot of you are popping off in chat. Hold on, let me go back and read some of this. Okay. They're not okay. So Cymex says they're not only worth a lot of money, but they're also personally valuable. I'd be so heartbroken. I hear you, Cymex. I mean, yes, they're a lot of money monetarily wise. They're worth a lot, but it's also, yeah, you're right. It's personal. These collections that we own as doll owners, as the doll community, the hunt for these dolls, the effort that we use to find these dolls, especially if it's a rare doll or a doll that was made a long time ago and you had a hard time finding it, or you just kept losing the click war, or you didn't win the lottery. Like, there is a lot that goes into obtaining these dolls and obtaining this collection. There's a lot of personal emotion into it on how much you love them, a lot of personal attachment for that. There's also a lot of like the journey to get them, and curating this collection of yours. There's a lot to it, and you're absolutely right, Cymex. PNB Soccer says, from what I heard, they left the computers and the gaming system. See, that's suspicious. If that is true, right? Because obviously this is all hearsay. Like, we're just hearing things from other parties. We have no empirical proof, but from what we hear from people is that if it's true that the computers and the gaming systems were left, why would you do that? As a thief, those are things that will sell. Now, maybe they didn't take those things because, I don't know, maybe the PlayStation has an ID code and it can be easily traced to the owner or easily traced that it was stolen. The same thing with the computer. Maybe that's a reason not to take it. I don't know. But these thieves, they'll take it anyways. They find ways to like hack your system. It's like stealing a car. They erase the VIN number, or they put a fake VIN number or something like that. You know what I mean? So I don't really see that as a deterrent for a PS5 or a computer. So why not take it? As a thief, the established value of that, like of a PS5. Now, if you're in the doll hobby, or somebody that's in the doll hobby and know the value of these things, maybe at that point, if I were to play devil's advocate and think from the thief's eyes, maybe at that point you're like, PS5 or doll? PS5 $500, doll possibly $500. PS5 is big and heavy. Doll is big but very light and compact, and I can fit like 10 of them in my bag. Right? If you know the value of these things, then it's worth taking, and you can take a lot of them versus a PS5, which takes up a large space in whatever your thief bag that you're using, whereas you can fit probably 8 to 10 dolls in the same space that you could probably fit a PS5 and controllers. So whoever stole this knew the value of these dolls. Like, you know what I mean? It's not some random thief. The random thief would have left them alone. Kitten Cat Shop says a doll collector had his apartment storage broken into, and they cleaned out his storage unit too, his large Chucky dolls. But see, with that, Kitten Cat Shop, that I can understand, because if they stole everything, like if they went into the storage unit and they stole everything there, then I can understand how they took the dolls, because it just came with the whole package. You know what I mean? Like, they took everything that was in that storage unit, and the dolls just so happened to be in there, so they took that too. So that I can kind of understand, of a thief taking everything, including the dolls. But still, that still sucks. Like, my heart goes out to that person, because whatever collection they had in that storage unit took a long time to accumulate, a lot of money to accumulate, and a lot of personal value to it. That sucks. Marie Velez says, yes, he recently posted about the incident. It is so upsetting. Excuse me. Yes, it is. It's really upsetting. Cymex says, so the thief went purposely for the dolls. There's actually doll thieves out there. I mean, I won't deny the fact that there's doll thieves out there. It's not something that anyone really talks about. I don't hear it that often. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I never really hear of it. So to me, this news is very jarring, because this is like, I would say essentially for me personally, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. I haven't heard stories like this before. So for me, it's the first time, and I thought it was jarring enough that I need to make a video and put out some awareness of this. PNB Sakura says, yeah, and most are licensed dolls. I think pretty much all of them are licensed dolls except for the Anafis. Yeah, the Anafi dolls are not licensed dolls. The custom Ganryu is not a licensed doll, but that was... Shine's Workshop does great work, but they're not cheap. So that is an expensive doll. It's as much as a licensed doll. The Moe one, I think that is an Akihabara schoolgirl's doll. I don't think that one... That's an original character. But then everything else on this list is all licensed dolls. It's all licensed dolls. Let's see. PNB Soccer says, I started air chipping my dolls. Fit good in the bust. Yeah, but see, you can air chip them. You know, that's not a bad idea in the short term. In the short term, that's not a bad idea. Because if you're, let's say you're at a con or at a doll meetup and your doll suddenly disappears, air tag that thing. And you could see it walking away on your phone. You could chase them down and find it, right? But if you were... Let's say like this individual, let's say you were out of the house or you were on vacation. If they stole it with an air chip in it, I'm pretty sure by the time they get to their hideout, whatever thief hideout, they're going to inspect everything and they'll probably find that air chip at some point. So that really is a short-term relief because depending on how much time elapses from the actual theft to you discovering that it's gone and checking your air chip, it might be already removed from the doll. But it's not a bad idea, PNB Sakura. It's just, it only works in the short term. Let's see. Marie Velez says, it is strange for sure. Cymex says, that's a great idea, especially when taking dolls out, but even at home, keeping them tagged. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I just think that because it's a removable item, it won't help once it gets removed. I know that some people have posted in the comment section, some people were like, you should mark your dolls in a place that only you would know so that if it's stolen for whatever reason, you can identify it because you know where to look for it. I've seen that idea floating around. Marie Velez says, but the popularity of anime may bring attention to our hobby. And that's true. And you know, you raise a good point, Marie Velez, because I have been approached personally by a lot of people when I go to conventions and I talk about these dolls in my panels where I'm like, oh, this is a doll. This is how you buy it. This is how much it costs. So then people hear that and then they're like, oh, they cost that much. That's a lot. Too rich for my blood. And I've seen other doll owners come up to me and they tell me, like, off to the side, they're like, hey, maybe next time you do a panel, you shouldn't talk about how much they cost, because then people will know and they might try to steal it. Well, they're not technically wrong. That is true. And look, somebody got their dolls stolen, right? As we're talking about it today. But when you're hosting a panel and you're talking about this intro to this hobby and you're trying to get these people into it, price is kind of the part of the thing that you can't really get away from. Like, even if you don't mention how much they cost in your panel, somebody will ask the question in the Q&A. Like when Q&A section comes up and they're like, oh, I have a question. And you're like, yeah, shoot, what's your question? And they're like, yeah, how much do they cost? Like, I'm not going to sit there and lie because that would be misinformation. And I'm trying to do a panel where I give out information to get people in the hobby. So I'm not going to do that. And so instead of just having that happen, I just put it out there. This is how much it possibly could cost. And these are the ratios, or the lowest end to the highest end rung kind of thing, right? So, you know, but that does beg the question, is that, you know, if more people start learning about the hobby and more people start, you know, getting into it, there's more opportunity for thievery because people know the value of it. But that's like the problem with getting afraid of that. The problem with that is that you then put yourself in a position, or you put the hobby in a position for where it won't grow, because the less advertisement, the less awareness of the hobby, the more the hobby is going to die or not grow or not get more popular or big, or even so, like, sales won't be as good, so maybe the companies won't make any more dolls or as many dolls. You know what I mean? Like it just, and it also seems like a form of gatekeeping. Like, if you're like, oh, these dolls are expensive, but I'm not telling you, like, it's in a way that's kind of like gatekeeping the hobby from new people coming in because you're hiding information. And I'm not saying you're doing it to be mischievous or deceptive or anything. I mean, you're just trying to be protective of your own belongings and your hobby, which is understandable. But I just feel like hiding what the hobby is and how much value they have is not the right way to combat this, because eventually that information will get out. Just like any other hobby out there, like Pokemon collectible cards. Oh, this Mewtwo is worth like $100, or or the Babe Ruth card, it's like worth $1 million or something like that. Like eventually for things will come out and people will find it either way. And not gatekeeping, but keeping the price a secret or the value a secret is not really, it's not going to help in the long run. It's a very short term kind of like I feel like it's a short term resolution to that problem. PNB Sakura says, I did it from when I took Amelia to Japan. Oh, for the air tags? It's not a bad idea. I like the idea. Kitten Cat Shop says, after many years in retail, folks will take anything. But in my gut, this is someone who knew they had the dolls and knew them. Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. And we're going to talk about that later on in this episode, because I have other slides talking about my speculations of what actually happened or possibilities of so. Oh my goodness. Marie Velez says, it does feel like a targeted incident. Yep, it does. Allie the Cat says, hello, thank you for covering my story. The police informed me that the person they recovered these dolls from was another doll collector. The other dolls are still missing. Oh, Allie the Cat, is that you? Is this your hobby? Hobby. Is this your account, Allie? Welcome to the stream, Allie. Thank you for providing information. I really wasn't expecting the original poster to be in today's chat or live stream, but thank you for being here because we have tons of questions. So, okay, so apparently the police did say that it was from another doll collector. Okay, so that's crazy, man. That's really crazy. Let's see. Cymex says, I'm so heartbroken for you. Thank you, everybody, for your kind words. I appreciate all the support during this trying time. Like, for reals, everyone in this community, our hearts go out to you. But, obviously, I don't want to put, like, a negative Debbie Downer to your situation, Allie, but it's just, we in the doll community, we all feel for you. We do. And anybody that isn't a hobbyist or a collector of things, we all feel for you. But until you join the stream, and even now, even though you join the stream, there is no, we're all internet. There's no proof that you or what happened to you is real. And I am sorry that I'm saying this. I'm not trying to minimize your experience. I'm just saying that, like, it's good that we're all here for you and this hobby is here to support you and we all feel for you. But according to what you're saying, and we have no proof for it, but other than your word, so according to what you're saying, so that it's another doll collector. Did the police, ever tell you, if it was somebody from? Because I heard one of the posts in your original chat. I think somebody said something that they were another doll collector of one of our Facebook groups or one of our doll groups. And I wonder how that came about, if that's true, because obviously there's so much words going around. There's so many comments going around that it's hard to tell what's real and what's not real. So it's good that we have you here in person in the live stream, so maybe you can answer some of that. Let's see. PNB Soccer says, sadness, just not right. Hopefully if anyone gets something secondhand and suspects it could be stolen property, we'll step forward. Well, we would hope so. We would really hope so. But the example that I gave earlier in the stream where, some people may have seen it or may have noticed it and not say anything because they're afraid of, just being a part of it. Some people are all for it and they're just like, yes, I want to help this person. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to tell the police, or I'm going to call the police, or I'm going to look for it, kind of thing. And those are people that you really got to be like, thank you so much. You're such a good and helpful person. But other people, there are good-natured people that are just afraid to step up. And it's just a fact of life. And some people are just not, courageous enough to do so. But we would only hope. We would like to hope that as part of the doll community and the doll family, that if we see something, we will definitely say something. Kitten Cat Chop says it's easy to use cell phone and do image search. Grab the easy to carry items and sell online. That is true, but that's only that only applies that if you're in the midst of a theft that you have time to Google search the things that are in the house. Like, I don't know how much time thieves would normally have to Google search things they find in a home before they take it, or if they just take everything and then do the Google search later. I don't know, but that is an interesting point that you put out there, Anna. PNB Soccer says, I also just like to make the dolls play random sounds with the AirTags when company is over. Wait, you could do that? I've never owned or used an AirTag. I did not know you could play sounds through it. Cymex says, PNB Sakura, that's even more reason to do it. That's really funny. That would creep me out. No, that would creep me out, because if I was an individual that knows nothing about this doll hobby, I break into a house, I see a wall of dolls, and then I don't know if there's some kind of sensor or something, and you make it start talking, dude, that would freak me the F out. Like, I would... Like, if I broke into someone's home looking to score some money and I walk past a wall of dolls and they start talking to me, I would freak the hell out and run out of that house. Or I'd get so scared I would start bashing them. I don't know which would come first. I'm pretty sure I would run out of the house first, but that's insane. That is crazy, PNB Sakura. That's a good deterrent. I would say that's a good deterrent. Like, you wire it up so that if there's like a motion sensor, so that if someone walks past the doll collection, the dolls just start talking like ominously from like a speaker behind like the display cabinet or something like that. Dude, that would, if I was, because you imagine, like, you're a thief, you break into a home, obviously you don't turn on the lights, right? Because thieves work in the dark. You have like a little flashlight, you're walking through the home, and dolls start talking to you. That would creep me the hell out. Like, that's a good deterrent. I should do that in my house for my collection. I need to set up a motion sensor next to my dolls and make them talk when somebody walks by. Dude, that's crazy. Okay. So Kitten Cat Shop says, this is why insurance is important. Very true, but also very expensive. To insure a hobby collection, and once you put the value to it and you notify the insurance company, they fleece you, man. Like, insurance for collectibles is pretty expensive, but you can do it. It is an option. Cymex says, Kitten Cat, hadn't thought of that, but now you have very good idea. It is a good idea, but it is expensive to insure those things. Allie the Cat says, please pay for home insurance for collectible items. It's so important. Yes, that is my post. Okay, so great. Thank you, Allie, for coming. Any more information that you could share with us so that we can help you out? I already know that a lot of people are reposting it in a lot of different places, in a lot of different doll groups and communities. So that's great for the community to get the word out there to help you out. But if there's anything else like that we need to keep a lookout, maybe you have an identifying marker on any of your dolls so that if we see a for sales post, we would kind of know what to look for. That would be helpful for the community too, so that we can help you. Let's see. Kitten Cat Shop says, yes, report. Some of these values count as grand larceny rather than minor theft. It takes me like seconds to look up Barbies when we are out at markets and shows. No, no, you're right, Anna. It does take seconds, but I'm trying to think about it like as if I was a thief. Like, you know, I break into a house. I don't know if anyone heard me broke in or saw me break in. I don't know if there's an alarm or a silent alarm. I don't know if the people are coming home soon. So I want to do a quick in and out, right? Like, it's not like you rock up into this house with like luggages, you know, that you could like kind of pack. Like, you got yourself a knapsack or something. Like, I'm thinking the stereotypical picture of a thief where they've got like a pillowcase or something, or a big garbage bag. Like, you can't carry much, man. So like, I'm thinking like if I'm hiding in the dark, I'm trying to be quiet and sneaky, I'm looking for like valuables and stuff, I don't know if I have enough time to Google search something or not. I think in that like kind of a situation, I would just identify with my eyes all the valuables and see what I think might be valuable, and then just take all that stuff, and then when I get to my layer, then I'll start Google searching stuff. But I don't know about, because I'm not a thief, so I don't know. But I just wonder, like, if it's realistic to like Google search something while you're in the midst of a crime. Because there's so many unknown factors on whether or not somebody's gonna catch you, you know what I mean? But I don't know, maybe to a seasoned thief, like someone that plays Assassin's Creed all the time or something. Like maybe a seasoned thief would know how much time they have, and maybe they know that they have enough time to Google stuff like on the fly. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I really wouldn't know. I'm not a thief, so I don't know the inner workings of this. The only thing I know about thievery is whatever I learned from Assassin's Creed. Like or like playing like Baldur's Gate, where I try to steal something from the shop owner by doing a minor illusion outside of the shop, and then the shop owner leaves, and then they're like, I thieve some of their stuff. Like that's all I know about thievery. So I don't know like if a real thief would have time to do that, is what I'm saying. Like I just don't know. I understand that it's fairly easy to Google search something, but you know, in the midst of a crime, I don't know. Let me see. Okay, Allie the Cat. Allie the Cat says, I think the most identifiable items to look out for are my Ganyu doll. That's true, because that's a custom doll, so there's not many of those on the market. Like, if anything, there's one maybe, because I think Shine's Workshop, right? Because that's where you purchase it from. Don't they make only one-offs? So there's only one Ganryu. So that one, the Ganyu doll, is definitely one that would 100% identify itself if it ever popped up on the secondhand market. We know that one's stolen. The custom outfits on Miku and Sakura, as those are one of a kind. Yeah, okay, so I didn't read the whole sentence. I should have read the whole sentence. But yeah, the Ganyu doll, the Miku outfits, those are you know, custom made outfits. So those are dead giveaways, which is probably why this missing doll that was recovered, you only got the Sakura head, because who knows where that custom outfit with the body is, right? And then Ali the Cat also says, all of my dolls were stolen without their boxes, and most are missing their accessories, have slight damage in one way or another. They're very loved and with some wear and tear. Okay, so that's good information to know. So, guys, whoever's watching this video, if you're watching this live, if you're watching this later on the VODs, just know that if you see a for sales post, whether it's in a Facebook group, whether it's on an Instagram or an X ad or post, whether it's on eBay, Mercari, anywhere else that you sell things, be on the lookout for any of these dolls for sale without a box, and maybe with some slight wear and tear. I don't know, maybe stainings or something. And if it has no accessories, because we all know in this hobby that a lot of us that are in this hobby, we love our dolls. And if we ever resell our dolls, most of us sell it with the box and with all the accessories attached, for the most part. Like a lot of for sales posts that you'll see in our groups usually come with a box and the accessories. If not the box, it'll be the doll and the accessories. Very rarely do we see dolls where it's just the doll without the accessories or without the clothes. You know, you'll see something like that, but those are usually like something that was like a standard issue doll. But that's a good point, Allie the Cat. I think a lot of people should be wary and should know that to look out for those kind of things. So that is a good point. Let's see. Kitten Cat Chop says, I don't want to re-traumatize Allie, but experience has taught me Thieves' plan. They have some idea of what and where and your schedule. Some have been known to pull up in service vans. That's true. Service vans, like the Wet Bandits in Home Alone, they had a van. So that's definitely true. But yeah, you do have a point, Anna, because if people know what you have, they will do research and learn your schedule so they know how to take something from you. And a lot of people that posted under your post have said it, that this is an inside job. It's got to be a friend. It's got to be someone that knows you. And if they left other valuables behind, that is definitely a hint that it's somebody that knows you, knows of you, or, you know, have met you at some point in time, because they know what you have. And they went straight for the dolls and nothing else in the house. Like, did they, if you don't mind me asking, Allie, did they take any other valuables from the home? Or was it just the dolls? Like, you don't have to say what the other valuables were. I just want to know if it was only the dolls or it was the dolls plus other things. Because if it's the dolls plus other things, then maybe it's someone that broke into your home that just so happens to know the value of the dolls. But if it's just the dolls that's missing, that's 100% red flag. Like, that is somebody that knows you, knows of you, has met you, that knows the hobby. Like, they knew exactly what they were going for and they went straight for that. But if there were other valuables taken, then there is the possibility that it's someone that just took a bunch of stuff, or somebody that went in there to just take things and then noticed the dolls and knows about them and took those as well. But you never know. Like, I don't know. I'm just speculating. I have no hard proof to any of these things I'm saying. Let's see. Anna says, or dress like utility workers. They used to be a TV series by a former thief. Dude, that's crazy. Ali says, that would absolutely make sense. I had only left my home for an hour or two at most, and then came home in the middle of the burglary. So I believe they were watching my movements. Wait, was that a typo? You came home in the middle of the burglary, like they were there, you heard them, and they ran as soon as you got there, kind of thing? Or you just meant like, or did you just mean like you came home and it looked like it was pretty recent that you know, somebody was burglarizing you? Kitten Cat Shop says, just know it wasn't anything you did or didn't do, Allie. Yeah, no, it's not your fault, Allie. For reals, it's not your fault. Kitten Cat Shop is right. Cymex says, oh my god, you walked in on them. That's so scary. That's what I was thinking too. Marie Velez says, oh my god, that's scary. I'm glad you're okay. Kitten Cat Shop says, or delivery person, anyone who saw the dolls. Allie says, the only items that were missing were the dolls and a few other figures, but my cash and other valuables were left behind. Oh no. Oh no. They went straight for the dolls? No. That's somebody, I'm sorry, I don't mean to scare you, Allie, but that's somebody that targeted you. That's a targeted theft. Like, they left cash and other valuables behind. No, that's targeted attack, Allie. Allie Cat says, when I came home, they were running out of my apartment building. Oh my god, no. No, this story gets worse and worse. No, they were running out the building? Dude, that's creepy as hell. Yo. So I hope, oh my god, I hope to god that you called the police were involved, and you got some kind of protection. Some sort of protection, like the police, you know, because this is very fresh. This just recently happened. Maybe do you have police stationed outside your home at least for the first night, you know, to make sure you're okay? Like that is crazy. That is crazy scary. Kitten Cat Shop says, friends sold Lindell homes and had several sheds broken into by neighbors who saw expensive building materials delivered. Stole lawnmowers from shed. People are just, I'm sorry, I have to say it. People are just assholes, man. Like, that's messed up. That's messed up. Kids, cover your ears. That is messed up. Dude. Okay, so I wasn't expecting the original poster, Allie, to be in this stream. Like, I didn't even know that you knew of my channel, or I don't know if you're a subscriber or whatever. I really wasn't expecting you to be here. So I had a couple slides labeling out what my theories are that happened. But now that you're here, we kind of know what happened because you're telling us. But like, I had some things prepared of possible theories. So Ali says, by the time that the police arrived, they were gone, but the police stayed with me until they were sure I was safe, thankfully. Okay, that's good at least. But this, yeah, I'm sure you made a report. I'm sure they took a report and everything. Like, that's just scary that, because yeah, Anna's right, and Marie Velez and Cymex, they're all right. Like, if this was a targeted attack, it's somebody you know, either a friend or a friend of a friend. So it doesn't have to be your direct friend, but let's say for sake of example, you're with your friend that's also a doll collector. You're hanging out talking about dolls, and your friend's friend comes over to hang out. Whether you're in a public place or you're at a home or something, they come to hang out and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you're into this hobby," or blah blah blah, and they see what kind of dolls you had, and they know that they're rare because maybe you were talking to your friend like, "Oh, Sakura Miku's pretty hard to get. It's going like 1100 on eBay or something," and that friend of a friend overheard that and then stalked you to see when you're not home, and then they swiped it. Like, that's one possibility, and that's scary as shit. Like, I'm sorry I'm cursing, but this is a heated argument, man. Like, this is a heated topic. So that's a possibility. It could also be like, you know, somebody that you met at a doll meet, or somebody you met at a convention. I don't know if you bring your dolls to conventions or if you go to doll meets, but that's also a possibility, you know, because this sounds personal. Like, if they went straight for the dolls, it's personal. Even if it's like an example that Kitten Cat Shop used, if it's your neighbor and they know what you have, it could have been a neighbor. Like, if they saw you coming in and out of your house with these dolls and they know of the hobby, it could have been something like that. Like, this is scary stuff, man. Like, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to scare you, Ali, but like, this is not cool. This is not cool for you, obviously, and for the community. That is pretty scary. But you know, I guess because you're here, it kind of makes my next slides moot, but I'm gonna go through it anyways, just in case, maybe for some food for thought for people in the future. So I'm gonna go into my little speculation zone of what I thought was happening or what I thought could have happened. So I already kind of briefly touched upon this of possibilities. So one, it's a random thief, right? It could have been a random thief, you know, like if some guy was going around stealing stuff and just breaking into houses, you know, like, let's say you live in a townhome or an apartment building or something like that. I don't need you to give out your personal information. Don't tell us this, Ali. But I'm just using an example. If you lived in an apartment or a townhome, because those are easy examples because you're kind of clustered and grouped in a very tight area, right? If a thief is casing that particular apartment building, they're casing who comes in and out, right? And maybe it's just so happens that they learned everyone's schedules and they notice that you go out on a certain day for a certain amount of time, and they're like, "Oh, this is the best time to hit apartment number 3 or something like that," right? It could have been a random thief that did that. And then when they got into the house, they take like whatever you have there that they think is valuable. Maybe they know the value of the dolls and they took the dolls while they were there. That was one speculation. Now we know, because you're here in the chat, now we know that you said that they went straight for the dolls and maybe some anime goods, but left other expensive valuables behind. But the random thief thing, that could have been a possibility for anybody, not just you, like any other doll owner. That could happen to anybody. Then I had this one, which was the trendy opportunist. I call it the trendy opportunist. I'm sorry, chat is kind of blocking the way. I'm going to block the thief man. So my other thing is, it could be a trendy opportunist. Now, what is a trendy opportunist? This is something that exists in all hobbies. This is not just relegated to the doll hobby. A trendy opportunist is somebody that follows trends and buys things that are viral. So AKA scalpers. Like, a scalper is somebody that buys something because it's trendy, because it's worth a lot, and they know that it's trending, and they buy up a lot of that stuff with the sole purpose of reselling at a higher value and making money. A trendy opportunist, speaking of thief-wise, is essentially the same thing, but instead of buying things, they steal them. So this could have been a thief that is watching trends. They could be already a scalper that buys things, but they also like steal things on the side or something like that. So trendy opportunist is just somebody that knows what's trending, what's valuable, like popular sneakers, maybe the newest iPhone, maybe the newest trend of doll hobby that's growing. And then they're like, oh, this is an untapped resource, this doll hobby. Who would have known that these things are expensive? And they find out that they're expensive. They do a little research. They know that it's hard to get these dolls. Sometimes it's a lottery. Sometimes they make limited items. Sometimes it's a click war. They find out all these things about it and they're like, I can make some serious dough by this. And then they go and they research it. They find Facebook groups, they find Instagram posts, they see all these posts and things, and then they find you and they stalk you. They learn your habits and then they steal, and then they go to resell. That's a trendy opportunist. I don't know if this happened in your particular situation. It really does sound like it's more of an inside job kind of thing, like a lot of people were posting. But that's a possible speculation of a trendy opportunist. And these are speculations that can happen to anyone, not just Allie. All of us in this doll hobby or any other hobby, it could have been a random thief and it could be a trendy opportunist. Another thing that could happen is the doll community. Now, this is hitting a little bit more to home. This is somebody that is a part of the doll community that, for the lack of a better word, is jealous or envious of what you have. It's unfortunate, but they exist. And they exist also in every single hobby. There are just people that can't afford what you can afford. There are people that just don't have the disposable income to buy what you can buy. And then, they sit around lurking in doll communities or Transformers communities or car hobby communities or, electronics communities. These are people that like lurk and skulk around the community because they just like it and they're into the hobby, but they can't afford it and they really want one. You know what I mean? And because they really want one, maybe they go to doll meets. Maybe they stalk your YouTube page or your Instagram page. Maybe they find out that it just so happens you live near them. And then they're like, I know this person. They post all the time that they have this rare doll. I kind of want it. And I've seen them at doll meets or they live near me. I kind of know their schedule. Maybe I'll steal something. You know what I mean? Like that's always another possibility, and that's a scary possibility because we in the doll community or any other hobbyist community, we join these groups because we want to find like-minded people that love the hobby just as much as we do. And it's like I said in the beginning of the episode, we love this hobby, but there's not many people that we know in our immediate vicinity that are also in the hobby that we can be friends. So most of the time, we're all spread out. Like a lot of people in live chat right now, we're in all different parts of the world. Like I know some of you personally that you live far away from me. So, we join these Facebook communities. We join these YouTube communities. We join these Instagram communities because we want to find friends that like the same things that we do. And, and it's supposed to be our safe space. Like this group, this community that we're a part of, this is supposed to be a safe space for us to enjoy the hobby with all our friends. And unfortunately, there are some people that target those communities. And those are the scariest ones because those are the wolves in sheep clothing. Those are the people that we think is just like us, that we want to be friends with, and then they turn around and stab you in the back and steal your stuff. Like, it is a sad, unfortunate truth, but it does happen. And I've seen it happen in other communities. I've never seen it in the doll community, but like the possibility is always there. And it's scary. It's really scary. And then lastly, the scariest of them all, possible situations, it's a friend. That is the absolute scariest. If doll community did not scare you, like an opportunist like hiding within the doll community, if that doesn't scare you, The scariest part is a friend or someone you thought was a friend. That is scary. And that is something that I feel like the doll community or friend speculation is something that probably happened to Allie. And I know that sounds really scary, and I'm sorry, Allie, I don't want to scare you, but if they went straight for the dolls and they didn't take any other valuables, it's somebody that knows you or at least knows what you have. And that's pretty scary. And you need to make a list of possible suspects, maybe, and give it to the police. Because I don't know, maybe the police can like knock on a couple doors and just be like, hey, I have a couple questions for you or something. And maybe in the process of investigation, maybe find your dolls. I don't know. But that's a scary situation. Especially if it's a friend, that's the worst. Someone you trusted, someone you know, someone you brought into your personal space, and then they use that information to take from you. Like, that's the scariest of them all. That is the worst situation. Okay. I see a couple things in chat, so I'm going to go back into chat and address what people are saying here. Allie says, no, I appreciate your insight very much. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. You're welcome. And I hope that this video at least helps spread awareness of this thing that's going on. I don't know if this is a freak accident, one-time opportunity, or if this has happened to a couple people and maybe they just haven't spoken up or whatever. I don't know. But no, we are here for you, Allie, and we'll do what we can do as fellow members of your doll family, to do what we can. We'll repost, we'll share, we'll talk about it as much as we can. And hopefully that will raise some kind of awareness. Hopefully maybe we'll find some more of your dolls. Let's see. Kitten Cat Shop says, I don't think it's a friend, but someone saw the dolls. Collectibles are harder to track, but more money than TVs or systems. The TV show said they try to grab small, light, and high-value items first. Yeah, that makes sense, because you don't want to grab a PS5 for the most part because it's big and it's heavy. But, sometimes people do. Maybe that's something that people are looking for. It just depends what the thief is looking for. And in this particular case, it looks like the thief was specifically looking for these dolls or hobby collectibles in general, because Allie did say that there were some anime figures missing too. So maybe they went straight for hobby collectibles. Who knows? I need a drink of water. I've been talking a lot. So there's going to be an ad that plays while I take a drink. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. You should be able to hit that skip button by now. Where did I leave off? Okay, Allie says, I hope that this experience never happens anyone else ever again. I hope not too. I hope this never happens again. But in all honesty, let's be realistic. The world is big and vast. There are millions of people in this world. It's bound to happen again. It's just an unfortunate part of life. But just like peace, when people ask for world peace or they pray for world peace, I hope to God this never happens to anybody else, because that is as Allie knows, this is probably one of the worst feelings you can ever have. Like, to lose your collection, your hard-earned money, your blood, sweat, and tears to create this collection, to accumulate said objects, and the personal value and personal attachment to these dolls. Like, it's horrible. It's gut-wrenching, man. Like, I can't, if that happened to me, oh man, I would lose it. Like, you would see me on YouTube every day being like, have you seen this doll? Like, I would be like hearkening from day to night. But it's insane. And I agree. I hope it never happens to anybody else. But the realist in me always looks at all the possibilities. It's just a downside to my nature. I'm like, I'm sure this will probably happen again, tragically, to somebody else. And it's as long as there are human beings, there will always be theft, because people just get jealous of other people. They really do. Marie Velez says, well, the doll hobby in general has a long history of scalpers and opportunists. This is true. Recently, the collectible Barbies, Monster Highs, and even Bratz dolls. Now, this is true. It's been plagued by scalpers for a very long time. But this is the first time I've personally have noticed or heard of or seen any information on an actual theft happen. Like, that's crazy. So I can't even imagine. I don't even want to imagine what that's like. That's just so gut-wrenching, man. PNB Sakura says, I thought Chinese recasting was a bigger issue than scalpers. Sadness. Chinese recasting is a very big issue, but scalpers is pretty high up there too. I don't know if they're neck and neck or if one is higher than the other, but they're both despicable things. Marie Velez says, I'm looking into collector's insurance for my doll collection. I mean, yeah, let us know, Marie. Let us know how much you got quoted, okay? Because I'm curious to know how much you get quoted. If it's an affordable price, I mean, we should all get quoted for our collections. Cymex says, my experience has been that this community is so nice, friendly, etc., and made me complacent to the potential dark side that lurks in the shadows. Dude, yeah, I mean, and I've said this many times in my channel, this community is one of the most accepting and loving people that I have ever met in this community. And I've been a part of a lot of, and still a part of, a lot of different hobbies. And this is one of the best communities I've ever been a part of. And it's heartbreaking to know that, especially in all the controversies that have happened in the past couple of years, like the racism, the elitism that has been rearing its head in our hobby. Not a lot, but when it does, it's very heartbreaking. And I've voiced my opinion on those incidences when they occurred in the past. But thievery, man, like that's a new one to me. You know, like that is just super crazy. And there is a dark side. Just as any hobby has a dark side, the doll hobby is no exception. It's just we're seeing a lot more of it now because of the popularity of the hobby itself. You know, when a hobby is self-contained and very small, you won't hear too many of the dark side parts of it because it's so small that either not many people talk to each other, not many people find each other. You know what I mean? There's not much news about it or outlets or places to voice your opinion on it. But as a community gets bigger and bigger and bigger, like the doll community is, it is growing by leaps and bounds every year. There's always new people coming into the hobby. There's always new outsiders looking into the hobby from the outside, like that things start to creep up. And then you get an international hobby, just like our doll collecting, where you have people from the US, from Japan, from Europe, from, you know, like the UK and France and Russia and I don't know, Iran and Pakistan and India and Malaysia. Like, we have people in this hobby from all over the world. And when you get all those people in one community, obviously there's going to be some butting of heads and opinions. Obviously, you're going to get varying people of social standing or financial standing that grow up with different values and different creeds and religions and cultures. And when all those collide, you know, it creates a vacuum, so to speak, of all these individuals coming together for one unified goal of this beautiful hobby of dolls. And sometimes those values clash with each other and sometimes brings out the dark side in other people. Doesn't necessarily mean that people come with bad intentions. It's just the nature of the beast. When you have, you know, differences, people as human beings, I feel like, and I'm no sociologist or psychologist or therapist or anything like that. This is just something that I think. I don't know if it's real, so don't take my word as law kind of thing. Take it with a grain of salt. But I feel like when you have all those things come together, it gives rise for the opportunity for misunderstanding to happen. It gives rise for the opportunity of, misplaced hatred or misunderstandings and things. And that brings out a lot of darkness in some people, because then people start picking sides. And, I don't want to go too much into this. I know I'm the tangent king and I don't want to go too far afield, but I understand what you're saying. And there is a dark side to every single hobby. It's not just the dolls, though. Marie Velez says, resin dolls recasting is horrible. Agreed. For a long time, I wanted to plan a meetup at home, but decided against it because I don't know everyone that well. So I organized the event at a restaurant instead. And that's a good point, Marie. That is a very good point, because when you have doll meets, this is why it always takes place in a neutral area, either at a mall, at a park, at a library, at a restaurant, because you just don't know who you're gonna meet is all. Like, you could meet somebody that could be your next best friend. You could meet somebody that becomes your next best significant other. You know what I mean? You never know who you're gonna meet. You can meet an enemy. You can meet a thief that's pretending to be a hobbyist but looking for opportunity to steal. Like, you never know who you're gonna meet. So organizing a doll meet in your homes, I am against it. Never ever do that. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you should ever host a doll meet in your home. And the only time you would ever host a doll meet in your home, if it's a very, very small, close circle knit of friends, like people really well. Like, I'm talking like not someone you knew from the internet for a long time, not somebody that you hang out for a couple while and you're like, oh, we've become close. I'm talking like, if you're going to have someone in the sanctity of your home as a guest, at least me personally, maybe because I'm paranoid, I want to make sure that person I know really well. Like, they've been my friend for 30 years or something like that, Like, we've been friends since we were in kindergarten. Like, I know this person. I was their best man at their wedding. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those kind of people, like, they're the godfather of my child. They were there at my wedding. Like, I was there when they got married. I don't know. Like, those are the people that I invite in my home. But like, people that and no offense to you guys, but people that I meet at doll meets, people I meet at doll, at conventions and things like that, I make friends with you and I like you and I have fun chatting with you, but just know I'm not really going to invite you in my home. Like, unless I know you, like really know you, I'm not inviting you into my home. We'll meet at a restaurant. We'll go to, hang out at a con or whatever. But it's just, I'm paranoid already as a person, just naturally I'm paranoid. But like, yeah, I think because, your home is your safe space. Like, that is your zen, that is your sanctity. That's where you kick up your boots and relax. That's where all your personal belongings are. That's where, like, maybe your hobbies that maybe you're embarrassed to tell people about, you keep them, you don't want people to see it, kind of thing. Maybe you're just a messy person. You don't want people to come in over your house because you don't want them knowing that you're a messy person. I don't know. There's a lot of different reasons. I just think that doll meets in your home is just not a good thing. Like, you should just be cautious about it and just not do it. Let's see. Cymex says bringing awareness to the dangers is really important. And as scary as the topic is, I really appreciate the discussion. Well, thank you, Cymex. I think it's a very good discussion to have. Marie Velez, I think that was a good idea. It's sad that you can't trust people, but it's better to be safe. It is. It definitely is. Allie says Liberty Mutual quoted me for $45 monthly for 20,000+ worth of collectible items. That is pretty expensive. I have to say, Allie, I'm glad that they do cover up to 20,000 or more worth of collectibles. That's pretty damn good, though. Like, that means that, like, if anything worth 20,000 or more, the insurance company will reimburse it. That's a good plan. But $45 a month, let me do the quick math here because I'm super bad at math. So I actually need my calculator because I don't know how numbers work. So I'm sorry, I don't. 45 times 12. Okay, so that's $540 a year to insure your collection. That's a lot of money. That's $1 a year. And I know that collects your stuff, but that's $1 I don't get to buy a year. Like, I know that sounds really stupid to think about it that way, because really you're protecting your investment, which is a good thing. Just like a home. Like, I have insurance, I have home insurance, I have car insurance, mostly because those are things that you have to have. Like, you can't not have it. But it's also a good thing to have, like, you know, like flood insurance, you know, basement insurance, like just in case like that floods. Like, there's all different kinds of insurance that you can have to protect your things. And I've always wanted to get insurance for my collectibles, but like every time I go for a quote, it's more than I'm willing to pay monthly for. I don't think $45 a month is super expensive. Like, it's not terribly expensive, but I think it's more than I'm willing to pay at this point in time is all I'm saying. Maybe when I have a little bit more money at my disposal, maybe I'll do something of that nature, or maybe I won't go as high. Maybe I'll do a $10,000 or more insurance plan. Maybe that'll be a little bit cheaper, but you know, it's not terribly bad. It's just more money that I personally am willing to spend right now at this moment. But it's a good idea though, and I think it's a good thing to look up these things and possibly be interested in those things, because if you're a hobbyist that has like a house full of collectibles, it's 100% going to be worth it, because it not only covers thievery, but it also covers like maybe fire insurance. Like, what if your house catches fire? So, okay, now's a tangent time. I'm warning you guys, I'm going off on a tangent right now, because now you got me into this topic. So when my wife and I got married, we lived in an apartment building. It's a very small apartment building. And then when we had our first child, we needed a bigger place because we only had a 1-bedroom apartment. So we bought a house, right? The day we moved out, I'm talking the exact day. I literally woke up in the morning. I picked up the U-Haul truck. I loaded half of our stuff into the U-Haul truck. I drove to the new house, unpacked everything, right? Unpacked everything, emptied out the U-Haul truck, drove back to the apartment to load up the second batch of things, right? When I drove back to the apartment, there was fire trucks everywhere. And I was like, what the hell's going on? So I got out of the car, I parked the car as close as I could get, and I walked towards my apartment building, only to find out my apartment is on fire. It was on fire. Like, they're shooting water into my windows. Like, there are flames coming out the roof and everything. Literally, it's like that meme of that woman, the house is on fire. Like, my apartment building was on fire. And what happened was that while I was out unloading all of the stuff in the new house, my neighbor that's attached to me, my apartment neighbor in the unit next to me, was cooking something and fell asleep. And when they fell asleep, obviously it created a fire. It started a grease fire, which lit their apartment on fire, which lit the person above them on fire, which lit the person next to them, which was me. It lit my apartment on fire, and then the person that lived above me, it lit their apartment on fire. And this is a 4-unit building. So the whole building went up in flames because some jackass decided to cook something on the stove and then fall asleep. So, you know, insurance is always a good thing. Like fire insurance is definitely a good thing, especially if that happens to you. So my wife and I, we lost half of our stuff. So when we moved that first trip, I took all the expensive stuff. So like jewelry, you know, electronics, like TV, you know, those really expensive, like money dollar value things I brought in the first trip. And then the second trip was going to be our other stuff, like clothes, towels, you know, like pillows, you know, and our memorabilia, but not like collector's memorabilia. It was more like our wedding photos, our photos from college together, like those things, all that up in flames. So we lost our wedding photos, we lost our pictures from college, like my wife and I. We lost like all of our clothes went up in flames. We lost all our clothes. Everything that was in the kitchen gone, all in flames. My entire Xbox and PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 video games, I didn't bring those. I brought the systems. The systems I brought over and the computer I brought over, but the games and stuff all lit up in flames. All that was gone. Our couch gone. Our kitchen table and chairs gone. Like those were all gone. So insurance is always a good thing to have. I just haven't bit the bullet on specifically collectible insurance yet, but you never know. I mean, we'll see what the future brings. But it is definitely a good thing to be aware of, and something that all collectors should look into at some point in time. Let's see. Kitten Tat Shop says, sounds about right. We pay about $50 for our policy. It won't replace them, but at least it would be a start. It would be to start over with the hobby. That's true. That's true, Anna. That's very true. Ali says, my thoughts exactly. Money doesn't replace sentiment, but at least we can try to recover some of what was lost financially. That is true. And like Anna says, it could be used to restart your collection again, kind of thing. Anna says, doesn't have to be strangers. Had a party with extended family, ex's family, like cousins, second and third. Had a Seiko watch stolen during the barbecue. Was on my master bathroom sink upstairs. Damn, really? Family members stole from you? Dude, that sucks. That's worse than a friend stealing from you. That's family. Dude, that's... Anna, that sucks, man. Like, that's horrible. Like, family? Oh, man. What is the world coming to when you can't trust family not to steal from you? That's messed up. That is messed up. Kitten Cat Shop says, too many people lost track, left doors open and unlocked. Dude, that's terrible. Cymex says, that is particularly sick to steal from your own family. Exactly, Cymex. That is terrible. That's horrible. Ali says, agreed. I'm so sorry that happened, Kitten Cat. What a tragedy. I hope you were able to save everything sentimental. I think Ali was referring that one thing to me. No, the sentimental stuff, all up in flames. The only photos that we have of our wedding and our college days are things that we had digitally scanned and put in our computers. Those are the only ones we had, which surprisingly wasn't much. We didn't digitally scan a lot of our things. Like a lot of them we kept in scrapbooks, like photo albums. See, all you young people that are watching this live stream right now, you might not know what photo albums are or scrapbooks are because they don't really exist today. That's called Flickr. That's called the cloud to you guys. That's called Facebook. That's called your iPhone or your Samsung. Like, we had these things on actual paper and we attached them to binders, which were folders that had little sleeves on them that you could put pictures in. I know I sound stupid by saying that, but like, the other day I was talking about Full House with a coworker who's much younger than me, and they were like, what's Full House? And I was like, wow, I'm old. I'm old. This kid don't know what Full House is? I was like, what? They didn't know who Boys to Men was. I was like, you don't know who Boys to Men was? Dude, I'm old. You have no idea who this is? I'm old. Okay. Cymex says apartment living. Yeah, I hated it. I'm so happy I'm out of that apartment. But I didn't, to be honest with you, Cymex, I didn't move to a place any better. Like, I live in a townhome, so, I mean, that's just as bad. Like, it's just as bad. Cymex says, that was always fear when I lived in an apartment. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Yeah, I mean, it sucks, but what are you going to do? You know what's the worst part about that, Cymex, is that my wife and I, at the time, we were young. We were like, how old were we when that happened? Well, I say young, we weren't really that young. We were 27 years old when that happened. And the reason why I say we were young is that when that happened, we had just moved out of our parents' house. So like, you know, we did the thing where we went to college and everything, and then after college, my wife lived with her mom, her parents. I lived with my parents for a little while we were searching for jobs. You know what I mean? So we didn't have money to move out. You know, we were searching for jobs, and when we finally got a job that it could afford us to move out, it was our first place, like ever, like first time ever paying rent, first time ever anything, right? Like on our own, like literally on our own for the first time. So when we had that apartment, we didn't know you needed fire insurance or flood insurance or home insurance. Like we didn't know any of that stuff. We just thought you pay rent and you pay sewage, water, and electricity. That's all we knew. We were stupid young kids. Like we didn't know. So like, you know, when the apartment burned down, we didn't have fire insurance. So we didn't get reimbursed for anything. Like we just literally lost everything and we got nothing back from insurance, like literally nothing. So we learned the hard way. So for you youngins out there, if you ever move out of your house, get insurance. And I know that sounds really stupid when I just said I'm not yet ready to pay for collector's insurance, but you at least need house insurance. You need home insurance, flood insurance, fire insurance. God forbid, I don't know, do they have earthquake and hurricane insurance? Like depending on where you live, you might need different kinds of insurance. So yeah, you need to be aware of those things because stuff happens, man. Stuff happens, and you just gotta be prepared for it. Kitten Cat Shop says, yeah, need renter's insurance. Most landlords only cover their property, not your personal belongings. 100% true. Learn that the hard way. Allie the cat says, that's so heartbreaking. I know it sucks. It definitely sucks. But you know, what can you do? You live and you learn. Matt says $20,000 is a $45 a month for more than 400 years. That sounds extremely worth it after hearing this story. I'm so sorry this happened to you, Allie. Matt, like, I'm not saying it's not worth it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's a lot of money and I don't know if I can really swing it right now. Like, and I always do the stupid thing where like I measure things in dolls. So it's like, I don't buy certain things because I'm like, well, if I buy that, then I'm that much more short of getting a new doll. like I think about it like, okay, I go out I'm at work. I'm like, all right, I don't have any food. I'm going to go out and eat at a restaurant for lunch or something. It's $20. And then I weigh it and I'm like, $20 for lunch today, or $20, I can get a new wig. I can get a new wig for my doll. Like $20, I could probably find a good pair of shoes, you know, maybe either secondhand, or I could maybe find it from Yahoo Japan or Amazon, maybe those little sneakers or whatever. Like I always measure all of my expenses nowadays to anything doll related. Like what did I do? What happened the other day? Oh, my friend was like, oh, he was talking to me about how he just came back from vacation and they were they were on a cruise and they were playing in the casino. And he was like, yeah, man, it was a good cruise, but I lost like $800 like in craps or whatever. And I was like, $800 in craps? I was like, yo, that's 2 smart dolls right there. Or that's 1 anime collaborated doll from Volks. I was like, yeah, I don't want to gamble. I'd rather buy the doll. Like I always measure every expense in my life versus dolls. Like that's how I measure things now. Like people are like, oh, why don't you go on a vacation with your family? I'm like, oh yeah, I could. And like some would be like, yeah, me and my husband, we went to Disney and it cost us like $4,000. And I'm like, $4,000? That's like 4 anime collaborated dolls, or that's like 5 smart dolls, all fully accessorized. That's a lot of money. I was like, I'd rather have the smart dolls. Like I measure everything in doll expenses. It's so bad. It's so bad. I did that to my wife once. I forgot what we were talking about, and I was like, really? That's expensive. That's like I could buy a whole new doll for that. And she gave me the look. Like, you guys know the look, like guy or girl. When your significant other gives you that look, you know the look. You know the look. It's just funny. It's just funny how I try to measure things. Kit Kat Shop says new car. That's $70 MD. What do you mean MD? SMD smart doll. Oh, it's $70 a month down payment or something? This is smart doll. Simek says it's funny but so true. It is. It's funny. I think this is something that any hobbyist can relate to, and particularly in the doll hobby. I know a lot of you in the doll hobby can totally relate to that. Like, you measure everything you buy nowadays in doll terms. Like, everything gets measured in doll terms. It's so crazy. Okay, let's move on, because that was a big tangent. We went on a very big tangent. We need to laser focus. Okay, before I get on to the next topic, let me get a drink of water. We'll play an ad, and I'll get my drink of water. Hold on. Okay. That should be enough time for you to hit that skip button. All right, we're going to move on. Okay, so the next topic I want to go over is the what ifs. Okay. Now, because Allie is in here, and I really didn't think the original poster was going to be in here, I put a what if thing. Now, the what if category is really just saying, it's just saying, like, because this is the internet, and I personally don't know Allie, and Allie personally doesn't know me. Like, in Allie's point of view, I'm just some random guy on YouTube that just says random things about dolls. Like, he or she doesn't know me personally. I don't know her personally. So me, the way I view the world, unless I know you personally, I'll just take whatever you say as a grain of salt, because I don't know if it's true. It could be a scam. It could be a lie. I don't know. I have no empirical proof of any of that whatsoever. So I put this category in here is because I wanted to use it as a warning, as a what if warning. Like, for example, the reason why I say this is, let's say, for the sake of example, that Allie was lying. And let's say, for the sake of example, that Allie is, I don't know, let's say a scalper or something like that. And they make this post to gain attention to the doll community of a possible something happening just to create drama. Okay? Not saying that that's the case, Allie. I'm not trying to say that that's you. I'm just saying, because it is the internet, and you just, out of force of habit or as good practice, you should always be cautionary to what you see or hear on the internet. Even me, whatever I say on the internet, y'all don't know me personally. Like, it's not like we hang like that. Like, you weren't my best man at my wedding. Like, we don't know each other like that. All you know is I'm some guy with a camera saying random stuff, right? So you always have to take things with a grain of salt, because you just don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who's on the other side of that camera. Sometimes people try to trick you and do things either for fun, for spite, or maybe just to be more self-aware. Like, what if somebody was like making up a story that so-and-so stole something to get back at another person? You ever think about that? Like, what if somebody said, oh, I don't know, oh, all these dolls were stolen from me, I think it's someone in the doll community, and then people start going, oh, well, I saw that doll for sale on a post, maybe that person stole it, and then it becomes a witch hunt. You know what I mean? And like, that's not good for the community either. So you always have to pose the question of what if, or at least I personally feel like you always have to think to yourself as a precaution, not to say that it's a truth, But you always need to be careful, especially in today's society where we're all so easily accessible to each other, in the sense that, like, if I wanted to talk to someone halfway around the world, all I need is their phone number or their Instagram handle or, whatever, and I can send them a direct message through Instagram or Facebook. Like, the world is a lot smaller than it used to be. It doesn't take 6 months to get from Europe to the United States, and then along the way you lose half the people because of gonorrhea or scurvy or something like that. You know what I mean? Like the world is different now. We can easily get from one side of the world to the other from like a 17-hour flight or something. We can easily communicate with each other through these phones that we keep in our pocket and carry around with us. Like, it's just so easy to talk to people and get around the world and see people. Which also makes it very easy to trick people, to scam people, to send out a false sense of hope to people. So as wonderful and as amazing as technology is and the internet is, we as human beings, we need to be precautious. We need to be preventative about what we do, because you never know who's on the other side of that Instagram handle, that Facebook handle, that camera. You don't know who's on the other side of that. So whenever you read things online, do some research. Try to find out, is this true, or does this seem a little funny? Could this be a scam? You know what I mean? You always need to do that. Like, and especially in our doll hobby with the scammers, sometimes they'll post, like, I'm sure all of you have probably seen the posts on Facebook group where it's like, oh, I'm selling this doll because I just lost a bond with it. Like, I just can't bond with this doll. And it's something that was just released, and they're selling it for double the price. And you're like, oh, scammer. Like, you know what I mean? Or somebody goes, oh, I fell into this doll and I thought I was going to get into it, but I'm not really into it, so I'll sell it for like $200. And you're like, whoa, $200? That's so cheap. This thing goes on retail for $600. It goes on eBay for $1,000. Why are they selling it for $200? That sounds sus, right? Like, those are very obvious examples that throw red flags in your head, and you're just like, whoa, there's something not right about this. But there are a lot of examples out there that seem too good to be true, or that seem feasible, and you're just like, oh yeah, that's true, that's realistic, I can see that. And then you may or may not talk to that person, maybe share some personal information, and then you're trapped, and then they got you. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that this is what happened to Allie. I'm not saying that, Allie's a bad person. I'm just saying you should always try your best to do what you can to protect yourself from whatever may be out there. I'm not saying close yourself off and never go out into the world and become a hermit. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, you just need to be precautious. It's always a good thing to, like, just be precautious and do your research about something before you go full bore into it, And that's just the what if section. You just always need to question things. I feel maybe that's the paranoia in me talking, but I feel like you should always at least question things, and, maybe dip your toe in a little just to see how it is. Don't just jump in a cannonball into the water first thing. As exhilarating as that is, to jump into a cannonball first thing and feel that rush of cold water all over you, and then you just get out of the pool and you're like, whoo, that was cold. Like, don't do that in life. Dip your toe in first. See if it's for you, and see if it's something that you're willing to take the next step into. Okay, so just be careful of what you see, hear, or read on the internet. That's all I'm trying to say. Let's see. Kitten Cat Shop says, no, instead of USD, US dollars, it's Smart Doll dollars. Yes, it is Smart Doll dollars for sure. Allie the Cat says, absolutely, that's a great mentality to have. Witch hunting is absolutely never okay. Harassing doll sellers is not okay. Yeah, you just need to be careful. You just need to be careful of what you read and what you see on the internet, because you don't know. Unless you know the person personally, you just don't know what is true out there. There's a lot of, like, what do they call those things again? There's a lot of deep fakes out there. There's a lot of deep fakes out there. And you just got to be careful you don't fall into that trap, you know? Because, you know, just like Allie, I hate to hear a story from one of you that got scammed or stolen or had a bad situation. Like, we all care for each other to a certain extent, like as existential people that live in different areas around the world. We as members of this community, we all want to be happy. We all want to express our love for this hobby together, and we hate seeing when somebody, you know, is down in the dumps. Like, we feel for them, you know. So just be careful on what's out there. Kitten Cat Shop says scams do happen. Some dressmaker did a GoFundMe claiming someone stole their dress they made. Turned out to be a total scam. See? That's what I'm talking about. Some people will try to scam you in some way, and you just gotta be careful. One, they said they lost their dolls in fire and it turned out to be exaggerated, untrue. It's tough. Yeah, there's another good example. Like, you just gotta be careful with what you read. Simon says, no cannonballing for this girl. Just to be clear, as a child, I tried it once, never again. I don't like that feeling of jumping, like being at room temperature and then jumping to a cold water and getting that rush of feeling. That's not for me. Some people love that. I don't. That's just not my cup of tea. I'm with you on that, Cymex. Matt says, Shizu's starting his conspiracy theory arc. It's a great point, though. Listen, man, you gotta be careful with these things, okay? I'm not typically known to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, you know, we're on this topic and all these thoughts are going through my mind and stuff. Come on now. All right. So let's move on, because there is another section on here I want to address, and that is, should we be scared? Oh, it's covering the really cool picture. Should we be scared? Like, now that this is something that has garnered our attention in the doll community, that has been reposted and reposted again, has reached out to a lot of members within our community. Now that this has become known, right? Is this something that we should all fear now? Should we be cowering now in what we do? Should we never post pictures of our doll on social media ever again? Should we never walk out of our homes and go to a doll meet or a doll convention? You know, like, is that the point where we reached? I don't think so. I don't think we've reached the point where we just can't share our love for this hobby anymore. I don't think that we should be so scared that we just never leave our house, kind of thing. I just think, like I said before, not to reiterate myself too many times, I just think that before we do anything, and I know most of you, your parents probably told you the same thing, and I feel like such a dad moment right now, but it's like, before you do anything, think about it. Think before you act. Like, you want to post pictures of your dolls? Post pictures of your dolls. But if you want to be safe, maybe not post pictures of your dolls with you in the picture so they can't identify you. Like, what if you're walking throughout the mall and it just so happens that somebody saw your face in your Instagram picture with your dolls and they're like, I know that person. That's Shizu-san. And then they're like, I know he has a lot of dolls. And then they follow you home and then they case my joint and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's one thing. Or if you take pictures with your dolls and you post it and like your car's in the background with your license plate on it, or your house is in the background with the house number or the street number. You know what I mean? Don't dox yourself. I think that's the word that the kids are using nowadays, right? Doxing. Don't dox yourself by accident. Just be careful when you post pictures. When you go to doll meets, when you meet people at a convention, I know that it's a lot of fun meeting new people and making new friends, especially in a hobby that you love, but just be careful of who you talk to. Be careful of what you say. You know, maybe the first time meeting somebody, don't say, hey, I live on so-and-so street. Why don't you come over my house sometime? Like, I know it sounds stupid and maybe you're like, duh, Shizu-san, we know not to do that. But sometimes it needs to be said. There may be some people out there that don't know these things, you know? Not everybody has the same, access to experience or knowledge or tales from their parents, you know? Like, not everybody has the same values instilled when they grow up. So just in case you didn't know this stuff, I'm just reiterating it. Like, you just need, I don't think we should be wholly scared of this situation. I think we should be aware of it. We should be knowledgeable about it and figure out ways to prevent this from happening to you or anybody else in this community that you know. So just be very careful about doing things. And I know I just spent like 5 minutes on this whole rant, and my face is plastered with all these dolls that I have all over the internet, on YouTube and on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And it is scary. It is a thing I think about all the time. But as a YouTuber, as a person in social media space, that is the risk I take, because I want to be a part of this hobby, but I also created this YouTube channel to inform people about it, to make friends and to talk about it. And I do panels and I do YouTube and I do, Instagram posts. I'm all over social media. And because I'm all over social media, I take certain steps to make sure that I'm protected, from things like that. Now, there's no 100% fail-safe protection, from anyone ever finding you or whatever. But, you should be careful. Like, if I do videos, I never do videos near my home or in front of my house. I never do videos with my car in it or whatever. And if I do, I think I did a few videos, but I always bleep out, or I always blur out like any identifying marks on my car. Like, when I go to conventions, I don't really tell people, where I live per se. Like, everybody knows I live in the US. Everybody knows I live in New Jersey, because I don't make light of that. But I don't say, like, I live in this town, I live in this street. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just got to be careful about the information that you give out. And one of the drawbacks of being a social media person, somebody that is a personality, and I hate using that word because it sounds so cringe to say it, but I don't know how else to explain or describe somebody that is on social media. And I hate using the term influencer because I don't like it, and I don't think I'm an influencer, but there's not many terms that people use for these kind of things. And I'm not a celebrity, okay? I'm not on the news. I'm not a movie celebrity or anything like that. So that's not a term that I can use. So it's more like an internet personality, I guess you could say. And one of the drawbacks of those things is that people know you. People know you by name, either whether it's, your handle for your channel, like Shizu-san, they know me by Shizu-san, but like, they know what you look like. And one of the drawbacks is if I was randomly walking around town with my family or whatever, and somebody that watches my channel recognizes my face, they could come up to me and say hi. And I always encourage it. I'm always like, I would love to meet you guys in person someday. So if you do see me, please come up and say hi. And it's always nice. But I'm just warning you guys that are not used to these kind of things, is that you can be identified when you put yourself out there on social media, and you should take at least certain steps to make sure that you protect yourself, and that you use anything at your means to protect your identity as best as possible. So there's that. Let's see. Okay, so Matt says, this is why I'm very careful about not including my face or any identifying features in any of my photos or shorts and reels and TikToks. And that's a good precaution to take. I know that sounds like such a dad thing to say, but like, it's a very good precaution to take. I tell that to my kids all the time. I was like, don't put your face in anything, because that's how they find you. Like, very paranoid dad. And I know that it's so stupid for me to say that when my face is all over everywhere, but again, you just have to understand the risks that you're taking, and are you willing to take that risk? Katie and her dolls. Welcome to the stream, Katie and her dolls. Watching this at almost midnight my time. Oh, well, thank you for joining us at such a late hour. We're happy to have you. Marie Velez says, Shizu, be a dad. Tell us we need this talk. I'm trying. Matt says, I love creating content within this space, but I'm also very protective of my identity for this reason. Yeah, no, it is always good to protect your identity at any cost. And trust me, it took me a good long while to understand what I was getting into before I even started this YouTube channel. And if you look back on my channel, my very first videos didn't have my voice in it, and it did not have my face in it. All of my earlier posts on Instagram and Twitter at the time, or X now, didn't have my face in it or any identifying marks in it. It wasn't until like I really took a hard look at what I wanted to do with my internet career, I guess, and took a lot of talking with my family and, understanding what the risks are involved and how to prevent things. And, after having those discussions, I am where I am now. But just realize if you don't want that attention, don't do it. Don't put your face out there. Don't talk about anything of your personal stuff out on social media. So just be mindful of those things. You just got to be prepared for what you're getting yourself into. Kitten Cat Shop says, yeah, no front yard pictures, no cars, and no closed curtains. It's good advice. Good advice. Okay, moving on to the next topic. Okay, how do we prevent theft? Right? Like, how can we prevent this? Oh, and this is blocking chat. Okay, well, you guys get the idea. How to prevent theft, right? Like, I'll put you somewhere like here. I don't know, whatever. What can we do? So I already touched upon it in the previous slide. You can prevent theft by don't dox yourself. Don't put any pictures of identifying marks whatsoever. Don't put your face on any of those pictures, unless you're willing to take those precautions and understand what you're getting into when you do that. So no doxing, okay? No faces, no doxing, no talking about like information, like, personal information. When you go to doll meets, it's fine to meet people. It's fine to bring a part of your collection, show off your collection. But again, don't tell people where you live, at least not the first time you meet them. Maybe if you get to know people at some point, maybe. But for the most part, it's pretty good protection to just don't tell anyone where you live. They're not going to hate you. Listen, I met so many people. No one has ever told me where they live, and I don't hate them because you know what? I don't need to know. Why do I need to know to be your friend where you live? It matters not. It matters not. Like, I'm here for Doll Hobby to talk dolls. If I meet you, we talk dolls, we become friends, we hit it off, we continue to talk dolls. We continue to meet up at doll conventions or doll meetups. We continue to meet up maybe at a restaurant. Maybe we'll catch a movie together because we're good friends now. Maybe we'll go to a baseball game together. I don't know. But all of that, still, there's no necessity for you to give out your address for that. None whatsoever. You're just friends and you always meet somewhere neutral. There's no need to tell anybody where you live. Like, so just be mindful of those things. Also be mindful that, like, and I know I hate to say this because it sounds kind of scary, but just be mindful when you go to conventions, when you go to doll meets, when you go on your way home. I know it sounds paranoid because we're not super agents. This is not Mission Impossible, but just make sure you're not being followed. Like, if you see Joe Schmo from the doll meet, and you're on your way home and you stop at the gas station and Joe Schmo's at the gas station, you're like, hey man, you were going this way too? And he's like, yeah, just getting some coffee. And then you go home and then you see Joe Schmo drive past your house. That's a warning sign. Like, be careful when you drive home. Like, if you see the same person suspiciously around everywhere you go, that person's following you. That person's stalking you. Be careful. Call the police. Like you gotta be mindful of those things. I do it all the time. Like, when I go to doll meetups, when I go to conventions, And the scariest thing is conventions. When I go to conventions, I always bring about 4 or 5 dolls with me. Why? Because I'm hosting a panel where I talk about these dolls and I want to give examples to the people that are in attendance. Now you're like, well, still, you don't need to bring dolls. You could just put it on the projector and they can just see a picture of them. That is true. And if you want to be safe, you can do that. But me personally, I always say on this channel that pictures and videos never do these dolls justice. Seeing them in person is a whole different experience. They don't look the same in pictures as they do in real life when you're actually in front of them and you're holding them. It looks totally different. It's a different experience. So when I go to conventions and I host panels about this doll, I always make sure to bring a variety of dolls of different sizes, like a DD, a Smart Doll, a Mini Dolphy Dream, maybe an A-Zone doll if I feel like it. Like, I always try to bring varying dolls so people get an idea of the sheer size and like the actual look of the doll. And it's scary because I'm walking around with like $2,000 or $3,000 worth of merchandise. You know, anybody could jump me or jack me or whatever. So whenever I leave, I always make it a point to look around, make sure that no one's following me, make sure that whatever I have on me is locked. I keep all my dolls in a locked suitcase. I don't leave it unlocked. It's always locked. You know, and like, I always like I don't usually take like anything personal with me. Like, and when I say that, it's like I don't have a car. I'll usually take like an Uber or something, so people don't know my actual car. They don't know my license plate, or I take public transportation or something, which in and of itself has its risks. But basically what I'm trying to say is just do things that you think is enough to kind of like throw people off the scent, I guess you can say. You know, you can prevent it. Don't advertise how much you have. It's so easy to do that too. Everybody knows what I have, right? Because everything I have, I post in my videos. And again, I understand the risks in doing that as being a public face, like on YouTube. I understand that risk. But if you are not willing to take that risk, and taking the preventative caution or cautionative matters to protect yourself, then you should be aware of what you're getting yourself into. I see all the time on Facebook and Instagram posts, people are like, check out my collection. And then they'll show you an entire house or an entire room of all these dolls. And you're just like, wow. And you know, it's an innocent post for the most part. Most people are just like, hey, look what I got. This is cool, right? And other people are like, wow, that's cool. And like everybody's all like fun with it. But at the same time, just know you just put it out all over the world that you have X amount of thousands of dollars of merchandise just sitting open in your home. Okay. And then maybe your profile says, hey, you know, doll enthusiast here from Georgia or something like that. And now people are like, okay, we know this person lives in Georgia. Like, I live in Georgia. Maybe if I see this person walking around randomly, you know what I mean? Like, it's things like that you just got to be aware of. And most people don't, it sounds stupid, but most people don't think about that before they post. A lot of people don't. Most of the time when people post, they're just like, this is cool, people are going to love this photo. And then that's all they think about. They don't think about the other things that could happen when they post those things. Okay? And I'm not saying you can't post those things. All I'm saying is that if you decide to post those things, just understand and acknowledge the fact that you know that certain information you're putting out there for the world to see. And if there's something about that you don't want people knowing about you, maybe you should think twice before posting it. Okay? Dad talk. Sorry. But that's just, I mean, you know, that's just how I feel. Like, I don't know if anybody feels that way. Maybe I'm the only person in the world that feels that way, but we need to take precautionary measures, especially in this hobby, because now it's becoming more and more popular. It hasn't reached the upper echelon of all hobbies that everyone talks about yet, but we are growing in size. So there's a lot of things you just got to keep in consideration before you say or do anything. And again, I'm not saying you should never say and never do anything. Just be careful. Just be careful with what you do and who you talk to. That's all. You just got to take precautions. Okay. Matt says, oh no, I already read that one. Where did I leave off? Oh, Kitten Cat Shop says, don't put empty boxes outside trash cans. Corey has me remove address labels before we take boxes to recycling. Another good point. This is such a great point. I'm not glad, but I am ashamed I didn't think about this point to talk about. When you buy your dolls, most of us are collectors, right? So most of us, we keep the dolls they come in. Like when we open a doll, we keep the doll box. At least most of us do. I don't know how many people throw away these doll boxes, but we keep them. Like the things we don't keep is maybe the box it came in from the mail, like the little cardboard box. Maybe you don't keep that. But this applies to everything you buy in your life. If you bought a brand new 80-inch screen OLED TV for Christmas as a Christmas gift to yourself, and you're going to throw that box away, how about not walk down the street to the dumpster showing everybody your brand new purchase? Like everybody in your neighborhood sees you walking towards that dumpster with this brand new $3,000 OLED TV empty box. And now everyone in your neighborhood knows what you have, or maybe a friend of a friend that was visiting a friend knows what you have, and they're like, dude, that guy's got an expensive TV. Let's rob the place. You know what I mean? Same thing when you buy figures and stuff. This is why I'm a huge fan of unmarked packages. Like, one of the things I hate about Volks is when Volks sends out their packages, it says Volks all over the box. It's all over the box. It says Volks, which means if the UPS guy or the DHL guy or the FedEx guy or the USPS guy that's delivering your package is a fan of the doll hobby, who's to say that that delivery guy does not pocket that package and take it home? Because it's plastered all over the damn box. It says Volks. And if it's a long rectangular shaped box that looks like a doll box, 9 times out of 10, there's a doll in that box. And that delivery person is looking at that box, or that person in the sorting facility is looking at that box thinking, there's a doll in there. I don't know what doll is in there, but I know the Volks hobby. I know the Smart Doll hobby because Smart Doll boxes also come labeled. It says Smart Doll on the box. Like, I know what a Smart Doll is. I know how expensive they is. No one's looking. I'm going to pocket this box and steal it. Like, I hate packaging that has the name of the item on the outside of the box. I absolutely hate that. Like, I will still always buy Volks stuff. Nothing's going to stop me from buying Volks stuff unless Volks bans me. But I wish Volks would send their stuff in an unmarked box. I wish that, I wish that Smart Doll would send their stuff in an unmarked box. And sometimes they do, depending on what it is. Like, if you buy a Smart Doll and it comes in that, like, rectangular thin box, like, and it says Smart Doll on it, you know there's 9 times out of 10 a doll in there, or a lot of clothing and accessories, which could equal the same amount as a doll anyways. But it says Smart Doll on it. Like, it's just safer if you just put an unmarked box. But the whole reason why I got onto this topic is that anytime you buy things, expensive figures, expensive clothings, and you throw away those boxes, hide it. Put those boxes in like a freaking black garbage bag and throw it out, because no one can see it. All they see is that you're just throwing away this big garbage bag that's filled with garbage. But if you just walk to the dumpster, or if you put on the curb of your house inside your garbage can a bunch of empty boxes for PS5s, 80-inch OLED TV, freaking Alienware computer, and that's just sitting on your curb, everyone that drives by your house is seeing empty boxes of expensive ass stuff. And then thieves that case around neighborhoods looking for houses to rob, they drive by your house and they see an Alienware box outside that's empty, an 80-inch screen OLED TV box that's empty, just sitting there on the curb of your house, they're like, now that's a house I want to rob. Be careful when you throw things away. You know, like cut up that box, turn it inside out at least. Like open the box, turn it inside out, okay? So that they don't see the markings on it. All they see is a black cardboard box. You know, when you go, and especially when you live in an apartment or a townhome and you have to take things out to the dumpster, turn that box inside out. Or if it's a small enough box, throw that box in a damn black garbage bag and then throw it away. Never show people what you buy. When you buy things, don't show people those empty boxes, because now they know what you have in your house. And that is just an invitation for thieves to rob you. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting off my soapbox. But Kit and Cat Shop brought it up, and that's a very, very good advice. Very good advice. Matt, using Heathcliff for this slide is ironic. He stole 2 years of several hundred people's lives. You win the award. You win the award, Matt, because I did that purposely to see if anybody would realize the ironicness of that picture. And you called me out on it instantly. You called me out on it. I thought it was really funny. I had another picture that I was going to use instead of it's from an anime where this guy plays a tank and he protects people because that's what tanks do. So it was like a protection thing. But then I was like, you know who also has a shield that looks like he would protect you, but instead does the complete opposite? Heathcliff. I was like, I'm going to put Heathcliff on this slide and see if anybody notices what I just put on the slide. And I think it's really funny that you caught that. Great minds think alike. Okay. There was a small little Easter egg. You found it. Congratulations. I thought that was funny. Kit and Cat Shop says, yeah, we already showed all our dolls. Cat's out of the bag. Yeah, I know. As social media presence people, like, the cat's already out of the bag with us. Like, for people like us, we just got to be careful in our personal lives and what we do and how we do things. But for people that don't normally do that stuff and you're just posting because you think it's fun, just be careful with what comes with that, the consequences that come along with that. You got to be careful about those things. Cymex says dolls out of the bag. Kit and Cat Shop says sign up with delivery notices with UPS and FedEx. You can have them hold if you aren't home. That's a good thing too, is if they're delivering a doll or any kind of packages to your home that you don't want your neighbors seeing, you can always go into your account or make an account and go into it and say hold at your local facility, and then you could go to that facility and pick it up. Like UPS, FedEx, USPS, DHL, they all have like satellite stores spread out throughout your towns or counties or states, and you can always have them hold it at the nearest one, and you just drive there and pick it up. Now, the difference that makes is that prevents your neighbors from knowing what you have. Right? And it also prevents porch pirates from stealing things off your porch. But what it doesn't prevent is the workers that work in those facilities from stealing your stuff. Now, I'm not saying that there are thieves, that everyone that works in UPS and DHL are thieves. I'm not saying that. There are good, hardworking people that work there that uphold, morals and good deeds. But unfortunately, we live in a world filled with humans. And human beings, as a society and as a people, we're not all perfect. I said perfect. We're not all perfect, okay? There are bad people that live amongst us. There are wolves in sheep's clothing, okay? And, having them hold it at a facility doesn't prevent from the worker who sees your box that says Smart Doll or Volks all over it. It doesn't prevent them from seeing that and trying to pocket what you have. It's a little hard to walk out of a facility with a box, maybe stealing it, but nothing really prevents them. I don't know, because I don't work in these facilities, so I really don't know. I don't know how many cameras are there. I don't know how much security is there. I have no idea. All I'm saying is that these workers know what you have, and the opportunity to steal is there. I don't know how they do it, but the opportunity is there because what you bought is plastered all over the damn box. Now, Smart Doll and Volks are not the only culprits of this. What happened to me one time, which I'll never do again because I did not like that and I didn't know they were going to do that. I ordered a very expensive computer tower way back in the day from a pre-built company, which I shall rename nameless because I don't know. Anyways, I ordered it, whatever. It was a gaming computer. It came in the mail. They delivered it to my house, and the box wasn't even in a shipping box. It was in the goddamn like regular box that you see in the stores. So for sake of example, if I bought a PS5, the PS5 comes in a PS5 box, and on that box for a PlayStation 5, you can see it. It says PlayStation 5, Sony. It has a picture of the PlayStation on it with one controller there. Like you can clearly see this is a PlayStation 5. What I'm saying is that same exact situation happened to me, but with a gaming computer. They dropped it off on my house. It had my name and address on the shipping label on the box, but the rest of the box was open for everyone to see. And it was shipped by, I bought it from Best Buy, okay, that's the store, but the product itself, they didn't put the box in a cardboard box and ship it that says Best Buy on it. They literally put the shipping label on the product's box and then just shipped it like that. And not only is that bad, there's no packing peanuts, there's no like bubble wrap that like protects the box or anything. And then they left it on my porch. It was like a $2,500 gaming computer that they just left sitting on my porch that says gaming computer on it. And because it's the product box, on the back of the box, it says everything that's in this box. And like it's all expensive parts, and they just left it there sitting on my porch. I was so pissed off. So like I never buy anything from Best Buy anymore and have it shipped to my house because they always ship it in the product box and they never cover the product box. They never put the product in a cardboard box. They just put a shipping label on the damn product itself and they ship it to your house and they just leave it on the curb. Like, what is that nonsense? That's horrible. That means anyone that drove by that saw this on my porch could easily have stolen that. Easily porch pirate stolen that. It's horrible. Like, I think that everything you buy online should come in an unmarked box. Or at least like Amazon. Everything you buy from Amazon comes in an Amazon box. So everyone that sees that box sitting on your porch knows it's from Amazon. But they don't know what's inside it, right? Because Amazon carries so many different things that you could get a PlayStation 5 in the Amazon box, or you can get a box full of like rubber bands and hair clips. You don't know what's in that box. But when you get a Smart Doll box that's shipped to your house that says Smart Doll all over it, you know there's either a Smart Doll in that box or there is a ton of accessories that fit in that box that they sent to you in that box. Like, I just feel like all things that you buy online should have an unmarked box on it. Like, especially if you're from a company that only sells expensive things. Like, if you bought a Prada, I don't know, what's the in thing right now? Chanel, Prada? Like, if you bought like a Chanel or Prada or Tiffany's, whatever, I don't know, you bought a handbag, a really expensive handbag, and then they shipped it to your house that said expensive Prada handbag all over the outside of the box, someone's going to steal that crap. Like, someone's going to take that. Like, I don't understand. Like, they know that if you ship a Prada box, there's not going to be like, I don't know, like fried chicken nuggets in there. Like, there's not going to be like, Nike slippers in there. There's going to be a Prada bag in that thing. Like, you need to have like a generic box that either says nothing on it, or if it has labels or some kind of identification, it has to be a big box store like Amazon, where the contents could vary wildly in there. You never know what's in that box. But if it's a company that only sells one thing, and that one thing is super expensive, don't put your name all over that box. Put your name on the product box, and then put the product box in an unnamed or unlabeled box, and ship it that way. Like that's terrible. It's horrible. All right. Marie Velez says, I believe that is why Lego changed their boxes to be unbranded. No, that's 100% why. Because when adult collectors order the, I don't know, the Hogwarts castle from Lego, they're not going to put Lego all over their box because people are stealing that thing because it's $800 set. Like, people are taking them off porches. So now they ship them in unmarked boxes, which is great. That's great. Kitten Cat Chop says, yes, especially around the holidays. Corey loves big sets. Yeah, like they unmarked boxes, people. Marie Velez says, I hate that Mattel Collectibles send dolls in a box with a logo and the name of the dolls. That's horrible. I've never bought from Mattel, but that's horrible because then that's sitting on your porch. If you're not home and you're at work, like most people are for a 9-to-5 job, for the most part, I know there's people that work nighttime jobs, so I don't know. But for the most part, they leave that box on your porch. And if that box is labeled with everything that is on in inside contents, someone's going to steal that crap. Unlabeled box companies. If any companies are watching this video, I don't know why they would, but if any companies are watching this video, change your marketing, man. Put it in a nice named box. Put the item in a nice main box with all the logos you want. But then take that box and put that box in an unmarked box, okay? So at least your customers, at least when they open that unmarked box, they still get the satisfaction of picking up a box in there that has all your cool labels and logos all over it or whatever. Just hide it, man. You know who beat you to the punch, people? You know, business people? You know businesses who beat you to the punch? Porno companies. Because porno companies and like, what is it? It's porno companies and it's erectile dysfunction companies. They always advertise that they will ship your packages discreetly in an unmarked box because you don't want your neighbors knowing that stuff. You don't want your neighbors knowing how kinky you are or if you have some kind of weird erectile dysfunction. You don't want your neighbors knowing that. So they ship those things in unlabeled boxes, unmarked boxes. And I feel like merchandise should be the same. Anything you buy merchandise-wise should come in an unmarked box and just have the shipping label on it, and that's it. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. We like boxes with product info and labels and pictures all over it. We love it as collectors. But take that box and put that box into an unmarked box and then ship it that way. So at least I still get the cool labeled box. It's just hidden inside the unmarked box. How hard is that? How hard is that? Now, I know eco warriors are going to get mad at me because they're like, dude, now you're just creating more trash and more garbage for the world. You don't need a box within a box within a box. Okay, I get your point. But at the same time, I don't want my packages stolen. I don't want people stealing my packages off my porch because you put clearly on the label that there's a $1,000 item just sitting on my porch unattended. Like, I'd rather that. I'm sorry. Like, call me, a hater of the environment. I don't know what else to say. I don't want my expensive items being stolen from my house because you decide to put a marked label all over the damn thing. It's horrible. It's horrible. Kit Kat Chop says Amazon has been doing that big box with just the label. Yeah, they have been. But you don't know what you're getting in that box because Amazon carries a wide range of things. It could be anything in that Amazon box. PNB Soccer says, I had an Amazon order where they did not even box the item. They just stuck a shipping label on it. That's horrible. That's just like what Best Buy did to me. PNB Soccer says, it was packet of ink cartridges. Yo, we laugh about that, but ink cartridges ain't cheap. Yo, those things are expensive, man. Like, yo, for the right person, they would swipe those ink cartridges. 100%. Marie Velez is laughing at me, probably because I was talking about the porno thing. Put my adult diapers in a plain box, LOL. Come on now, you don't want people knowing. You don't want your neighbors knowing about that, right? Christina Kowald says, hi there, everyone. Hope you're all having a great weekend. We're having a great weekend, Christina. Welcome to the stream. Cymex says plain brown wrapper that stuff. Yeah, you know, that's a good idea, Cymex. You could have your box with the shipping label all over it, and just like a Christmas gift, wrap it in that plain brown, like, you know, cardboard, like paper wrap thing. You could do that too. That works. That works just as well. Marie Velez says, once I had Home Shopping Network send me an expensive sewing machine on the actual product box with the label directly on it. I was so mad. Dude, I would be so pissed off too. Like, that's the kind of crap I'm talking about. That is lazy, and that is not protecting your customers' items. That's not. How is that protecting your customers' items? You send this expensive item out to your customer hoping and praying to God that, you know, it arrives safely to your customer. Like, that's not good for you as a business either. Because then if that gets stolen, your customer is going to complain to you and be like, oh, I never got my package. Where's my package? And then now you have to deal with this disgruntled customer because your lazy butt decided to ship the item not in a box and just put a label on the original product box. Like, that's horrible. That's terrible. And I hate it. I hate it. I don't like it when shipping companies do that. Like, that is like the worst. And if anyone from Volks or Smart Doll is watching, Danny, maybe we could think about putting things in unlabeled boxes. Is that too much to ask? Especially because this doll hobby is growing in popularity. Like, people are going to start seeing Volks and Smart Doll boxes sitting on porches knowing there's an expensive item in there. Like, I think it's just safer all around for everyone to just have an unmarked box. I really do. I feel like it's a precautionary thing that you can do to protect your customers and also to protect your business, because you don't want customers complaining that they never get their products from you because people keep porch pirates stealing them. Like, I think it's just a good idea all around to just send unmarked boxes. It really is. I just think it's a great precautionary measure for everybody involved. I don't know, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's more expensive to ship things in unmarked boxes. I don't know. Maybe you get a discount for shipping something with boxes that are identified with a full laundry list of everything that's in the box. Maybe it's cheaper shipping that way. I don't know. Maybe they get that 5-finger discount, if you know what I mean. Like it's just crazy, man. Like, in today's day and age, you just can't trust anybody anymore. It's so crazy how you can't trust anybody. All right. I'm going to get off my soapbox. We're going to move on. All right. So, that's everything I have to say about today's episode. You know, if you guys have anything else you want to talk about, anything else you want to say, write it down in the live chat and, you know, we can discuss that. If not, I'm going to give it a few seconds. I'm going to get a drink of water. If you guys have nothing else you want to add to this today's segment, if you have no questions to ask, then we're going to move on to Shizu-san's Anime Corner next. And why is this not working? Okay, there we go. I'm just going to move that over. All right, let me get a drink of water. An ad is going to play, so you can hit that skip button. Whew. I did a lot of talking today, people. A lot of talking today. Okay, Marie Velez says, actually, I love that Fabric Friends and Dolls always ship the dolls, SMD, A-Zone, etc. inside an unmarked box. Yes, that's a good thing. That is a very good thing, a good practice to do. Kitten Cat Shop says, or better, it's all adult diaper boxes, even if it really is a Rolex. That's true, because no one's gonna steal an adult diaper box other than people that use adult diapers. And even then, other people that use adult diapers might not want to steal your adult diaper box anyways. Who knows? I don't know. But that is pretty funny, Kitten Cat Shop. That's funny, Anna. Christina Kowald says it would be double the weight. It's so expensive to post. If you're saying about putting the product box within another box, I don't know if it will double the weight of your item, but it definitely would. It definitely will add more weight. You are right about that. Putting a box within another box will add a little bit more weight. And I don't know what the actual measurement of that weight would be, but an empty cardboard box weighs, I don't know how many grams, but it can't be that much. It doesn't weigh a pound. An empty box does not weigh 1 pound. I don't know what 1 pound is in the metric system. I'm sorry. I only know by pounds. It doesn't weigh 1 stone. I don't know how many people use the measurement of 1 stone. It doesn't weigh, I don't know, 100 grams. I don't know, 100 grams, that's really small. I don't know the metric system at all. I'm sorry. But I'm just saying that empty box, when you put the product into that empty box, an unmarked empty box, yes, it does add weight, but it shouldn't add that much more weight. Like, how heavy of this box are you talking about? Like, I understand the concern, and it is a valid concern. I just don't feel like that extra box weighs enough to make the package like super expensive. It'll definitely add a little bit more to it. And so when you ship packages, it falls in a different threshold. So using the empirical system again, if it's less than a pound, you get like one charge, let's say $1. If it's a pound to 5 pounds, it's like $5. And if it's more than 5 pounds, it's like $10. I'm making this up, but I'm just using an example. So yes, it'll cost more money if you get something that is 5 pounds, okay, and it costs, $10 if it weighs like 4 pounds and it costs $1 to ship, in my example that I'm using, if it weighs 4 pounds and it costs $1 to ship, and then you put that product in an empty box, and that empty box alone adds another pound, then yes, it'll bump you up to the next tier of 5 pounds or more, which makes it a $5 shipping, which increases the shipping cost by 400%. I understand your concern if we're talking about it in that sense. Yes, that makes sense. But I don't know. I just feel like an unpackaged box is definitely better. So even if you just put the actual product in an unmarked box, I'm okay with that too. It doesn't have to have a product box within another box. It doesn't have to, but I just think an unmarked box is better for all people in general. Let's see. Marie Velez says, I noticed that recently Amazon is has been shipping things in a brown bag. Are you talking about like those brown envelope bags for like smaller things? Then yes, I've seen those. Like my wife has bought like I think a shirt off of Amazon or like a sweater off Amazon. And instead of putting in that regular plastic bubble mailer thing, they put it in this like brown paper bag type thing. And I think that's Amazon's like idea of like saving the world. Instead of using plastic, they're using brown paper bag envelopes to ship in. But even those brown paper bag envelopes to ship in, inside is bubble wrap packaging. So you still have plastic in there. It's just not as much plastic, I guess. Cymex says, I've got an early morning, so gotta go. But I'm so happy I finally got here. I've missed these streams. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. Thank you, Shizu-san. Thank you, Cymex, for coming. You pretty much stayed for the whole thing. We're just going to cover the questions and anime corner, but thank you for coming. You can watch the rest of this on a VOD at some other time. No problem. But I really appreciate you coming by and lending your input throughout the stream. It's been great talking with you. Hope to see you next week. Okay. Continuing on, Marie Velez says, yep, it's like an envelope thing. Yeah. I've seen those. And I don't mind those at all. Those are fine. Especially if it's a clothing item, because clothing items, it doesn't matter if it gets squished or whatever, it doesn't break. But if they put like your anime figurine in like a brown paper bag like that, I'd be pissed, because that brown paper bag is not going to save my anime figurine from getting crushed in the mail. So it depends what they're shipping, is what I'm saying. Okay, so I think that's everything that's in chat. I don't see any more posts. So we're gonna move on to the final part of today's episode, which is Shizu-san's Anime Corner. I have another show that is not an isekai today and I really want to talk about it because it was a great show. I really enjoyed it and it was a lot of fun. And I think you guys will enjoy it too. So this is going to be Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. When I first saw the thumbnail and the name of this show, I was like, that sounds absolutely ridiculous. That is a dumb show. This show is gonna suck. It's horrible. And that is exactly what I thought when I saw this on Crunchyroll's list of new shows. I was like, what kind of title is that? That sounds so dumb. I am not watching this show. And then I saw a YouTube short of an episode. Like there was like a little 10-second clip on YouTube Shorts. And I was like, that's pretty funny. What show is this? And then somebody wrote in the comments that it's Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll try it. I'll try it because that clip was really funny. So I decided to try it and I watched it. And I have to say, weird name aside, this show is amazingly good. This show is so funny. I really like this show. And after watching the first episode, I was still skeptical. I will say I was still skeptical that this show was going to suck after the first episode. And the reason why I thought that is because I was like, how long can they ride this gimmick of a show? Like, how many episodes before this gimmick gets really boring and I get tired of watching this show? So let me explain what I mean by that. The whole premise of this show is it's a Japanese school life. The main character is this gentleman here, okay? He's the main character, the main love interest. Ali is the one in white hair. This is her sister in the auburn hair. This is Maria. This is the main character's sister, Yuki, and then this is their, I don't even know how to explain it. Actually, I don't want to explain who she is because that would kind of give away a part of the story. So I don't want to give away who she is, but she's important. Now, the whole premise of this story is that these two girls, Alia and Maria, they're Russian. They are Russian. They are half Russian, half Japanese, half Russian. But they live their lives in Russia. They speak Russian, and they have moved to Japan, and they're living their lives now in Japan. So they are learning the Japanese language, and obviously they speak Russian already, right? So they're going to school, and Alia, the girl in white hair, is in love with our main character, the guy over here. And whenever she's embarrassed or she wants to say things about the main character, like I love you or you look cute or something like that, she always says it in Russian. And the main character doesn't know what she's saying. So she thinks that she's safe by saying these things because nobody understands Russian, so nobody knows what she's saying. So she would say these embarrassing things like, I love you, oh, you're so cute, please talk dirty to me. But she's saying it all in Russian with the understanding that nobody knows what she's saying. Turns out, because it's a TV show, a couple people know what she's saying. They just never told her that they understand exactly what she's saying. So there's a bunch of people in her class, I want to say, that understand Russian. And I don't know how often or how realistically viable that is in Japan, but like people understand Russian in her class. She doesn't know that. So all these people hear her saying these like embarrassing things, right? And she's left in the dark. She doesn't know. So after watching the first episode, I was like, there's no way that they do this throughout the whole show. Like, this is going to get boring fast. Like, this is going to get old really fast, right? Turns out, it doesn't. Like, like they did it in a way where it wasn't so obnoxious that you got super bored of it. And they did it in a way where it was nicely spread out throughout the show. They did it in a way where it didn't become cringe, or at least I didn't feel that way. So it's your typical love story, but with a twist. I really think that you guys would like it. For the most part, it's pretty innocent, and I think like the little innuendos that happen in the show kids are, if you have a kid in the area while you're watching it, I don't think they're really going to understand it anyways. Like, it's just going to fly over their head. They won't get the innuendo part of it. So I suppose it's safe to watch around kids. But it's a really good show. It's a really cute show. It's really funny. They get put in awkward situations sometimes. And like, I don't know. It's a rom-com for sure. It's a romantic comedy slice of life. I enjoyed this show so much more than I thought I would. It's easily in one of my top shows for the year. Easily one of my top shows of 2024. It's so good, and I really hope they do a season 2. Just like last episode's show where I showed you Tomo-chan as a girl. In that one, it ended in a way where I'm like, I'm satisfied. It doesn't have to have a second season. In this show, it also doesn't have to have a second season, but if they were to have a second season, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Like, I think it could go for another season. It ended pretty well, but it could go for another season if they wanted to. There's definitely some things that they could do to make the second season happen. But it's really, really good. And I like, in a way, the show is kind of like a murder mystery because they keep you guessing on what's going to happen next. And they kind of throw you through a loop where you're just like, wait, I thought this was going to happen. And like, you're just like, oh wait, this is happening now? Like, that's crazy. So it does kind of have a little bit of that vibe in it mixed in, but it's not, it's mostly just a rom-com for the most part, like a teenage high school rom-com kind of thing. You guys will enjoy it, or at least I think you'll enjoy it. If you like my recommendations I've given you thus far, you'll probably enjoy this show as well. But that's my recommendation, and that's my pick for this week's episode. Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. Definitely give it a try. At least if you're still skeptical and you don't know if it's going to be good, definitely give it 2 episodes, because I don't think the first episode is good enough to hook you right on its face. I think you need at least to watch the first 2 episodes to see if you want to continue watching the show. At least that's what I think. I felt that way. But yeah, that's my show for this week. Hopefully you guys enjoy that pick. All right. And then that pretty much ends that. So yeah, that's today's episode. Should we be fearful of thieves? Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you found it entertaining. Hopefully you found it informative. I hope you enjoyed the discussion for today's episode. I really appreciate everybody that participated in the chat. I really, really appreciate Ali for attending today's stream. I wasn't expecting that. It's great having you on the stream and to be able to provide us with more information on what happened, so that we can better spread the word and educate everybody about this situation. And hopefully you'll find your dolls. I really hope you'll be able to recoup the rest of them. I really do. So thank you again, Ali, for coming, and thank you everybody for coming here on the live streaming and participating in the live chat. I really appreciate it. It's always great talking with you guys every single week. I really enjoy it. And for those of you that are watching this on the VODs at some point in time, drop a comment down below if you found this interesting, if you found it helpful, if you have any questions about the things that we talked about today, or any questions in general, just pop it down in the comment section. I will reply to it eventually at some point. I know that as of late, I've been pretty bad with replying things. I've just been so busy. It's been crazy. But I will try to get to everybody's comments as soon as I possibly can. Anything else? I think that's it. So yeah, hit that like button. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you think that this video had some very good information that you need to share, or if you just want to share it so you can spread the word about Ali's situation and help spread the word to help find her dolls, please hit that share button, share it wherever you can. And also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, or at least think about subscribing to the channel, so you get notifications on any new videos that may be coming up or any live streams that I do. Especially, I have 2 new unboxing videos that are coming up in the near future. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe so you get the notification of when that pops up. But that's everything for me. I am your host, Shizu-san, and my beautiful assistant with me today is the very lovely Artemis. So thanks everybody for coming, and I will see you guys in next week's episode. Bye!
When you're not here, life is insufferable. Don't be a stranger, even though we said pause. Darling, I fear pause is impossible. 'Cause I want your love around no matter the cost. My heart all in pieces, I lost what I needed. My God, hate this feeling. Your heart missing something you want, all or nothing, moving on is boring. We say goodbye, and it's killing us. Looking like 2 train wrecks, falling off the tracks. We were fine, so I messed it up. I don't know, don't know, don't know. We say goodbye, and it's not for us. Feeling like we lost it, like we're out of touch. We rebound, and it's all because we don't know, don't know, don't know how to let go. All of my tears fill up a swimming pool. I'm sick of drowning in my own misery. Baby, for real, I know you crying too. When we could enjoy each other's company. My heart all in pieces, I lost what I needed. My God, hate this feeling. Your heart missing something you want, all or nothing, moving on is boring. We say goodbye, and it's killing us. Looking like 2 train wrecks, falling off the tracks. We were fine, so I messed it up. I don't know, don't know, don't know. We say goodbye, and it's not for us. Feeling like we lost it, like we're out of touch. We rebound, and it's all because we don't know, don't know, don't know how to let go. How to let go. Yeah. Can't believe